And she answers like, hello? He's like, how you doing, Sidney? And she's like, oh my fucking God, how are you like alive and stuff? I'm back for the sequel. You're gonna die, bitch. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
Well, if I'm a suspect, you're a suspect. You have a point. Okay, let's move on.
We're going to go ahead and jump into my review of Scream 2. But first and foremost, Chad, I want to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen the 1997 classic, Chad? I'm going to call it a classic, slasher classic, directed by Wes Craven, of course, Chad. Scream 2. Very curious about Hamilton Burger. Good to see you. Hope you're doing very well. Welcome to the stream. Yes. Yeah, no, it came on VHS. Yeah, I mean that's when DVD started to come out, like with the late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say. I'm trying to misremember. I remember seeing this movie in Blockbuster, the Scream series in Blockbuster back in the day. Gamash, yeah, it's been a while. I really like it, to be honest. I don't think I've seen Scream 2. I saw it like 2 years ago. Okay, recent. A recent viewer. Very nice. What the rest of you guys? Anyone else seen Scream 2? Obviously, I know a lot of people have seen the original Scream. I've seen Scream 2 so long ago, says T-Bone. Seems to be the case for a lot of people. I mean, one person said they only saw it a couple years ago, but a lot of people said they've like, hey, I've seen it, but it was a while ago. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Yeah, I've like I said, Chad, I've seen the first 3 Scream movies. Always really liked the first one. Always really liked the second one, of course. I saw them like in the early 2000s, like mid 2000s. And the third one I would remember just being disappointed by. I've seen it the least. I don't remember like a lot of details. All I remember from that movie is who the killer was. I was like, oh, really? Okay. And fucking, what's his name? Liev Schreiber. Cotton, who's a piece of shit in this movie. Oh my God. I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, Cotton's like an awful person. Which I think is like, oh, look at that. I see what you're doing here. My expectations, like he was a man who was wrongly accused, and you think he's going to be so humble, you're going to care for him. He's like, oh no, he's kind of like, he's not a murderer, but he's still a piece of shit human being, which I really like that shit. I really like that. That was pretty cool. I just remember him in Scream 3, like he's in the opening of that movie. I believe he's in it's the opening, right? I could be misremembering. Now that one I've not seen in a very fucking long time. I've not seen the movie in a very long time. I remember him going, him just fucking screaming like, high pitch, little whale, which I thought was really, really fucking funny. That's all I remember. Scream 3 was just a big meh, and 4 was a kind of meh. I didn't even see 4. I thought I saw it, but I was like, did I see it? And I guess I have not. I don't think I ever saw it yet. I don't think anyone remembers Scream 3. I really do think, chat, that Scream 1 and Scream 2 are just held in such high regard. I really do think that's it. And they are, because I think both movies are great. Because I was watching this film last night, and I was thinking to myself, it's like, which one is better? And I really had to think about it the whole time. Because, like Scream 1's a full price. I'm going to tell you right now, Scream 2 is also going to be a full price for me. But I was like, which one do I think is the superior movie? And it's really hard because they have very strong performances. It's funny. It's well shot. The big reveals and the twists in the movie I think are very fun. Who dies is like, oh God, you actually care about who dies in this movie. You're surprised who dies. Like, it's got a lot of good twists and turns. It's a really good movie, but it's, maybe I would just edge. It does the thing which I appreciate about a horror sequel, which is rare, is that it manages to be either just as good or, if not better, than the original film. I think I prefer the first one, maybe a little bit more, but they're a great duology. Back to back, they're both great. This one kind of ends sad. Like the first film, it's kind of triumphant, for Neve Campbell's character of Sidney Prescott. Chad, here she goes to the fucking ringer. I mean, she loses a lot in this goddamn movie, and it's just it's like, wow. So I guess she comes out a little bit better in Scream 3 and I suppose 4, but man, she loses a lot in this film. So I feel kind of sad for her. But really, it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I don't know which one is better. Like if someone told me, that's what's so funny about this film, because it's so fucking meta. The whole debate is, I mean, you have Jamie Kennedy's character who's like, sequels suck, but in order to be a good sequel, you need to do all these specific things. You need to follow these rules, and it does that. It follows these certain rules. It has these great twists. It has more elaborate kills. It kills characters that you care about, and you're like, oh no, and it's like you're invested in it, and it turns out it's like, wow, this is actually it's just either as good or if not better. And if anyone says like it's better than the original Scream, it's like I couldn't argue against you. There's some really fun performances in here and sequences, so yeah, it's really hard for me to say that this is like inferior anyway, because I don't think it is. I think they're both well-made movies, and they stand shoulder to shoulder to me. And again, it gets super meta because of the fact that it's also this I can tell where this has a lot of the DNA of Wes Craven's New Nightmare, because it has that whole commentary about exploiting a franchise for your financial gain, and how it kind of loses the luster of what the original film had. And I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool, because the opening of this movie is basically you had Courtney Cox's character of Gale Weathers writing a book and then selling the rights to Hollywood to make a film, and now it's becoming this franchise. Everyone fucking loves it, and it's kind of becoming like sanitized. I thought, oh, it's so fucking funny, because that's like what happened with Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street series. It's like, oh, I get it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I know that continues on in the other sequels. I know in Scream 3 they have Stab 3, based on the events of the Westboro murders, the killings, or whatever. I really like that. I think that's really fun. So it has that on top of it already. They have a movie within a movie where you actually see the events of the previous film with like new actors. Like you have who is it? Heather Graham plays the Drew Barrymore character. You have Luke Evans playing Billy, got the Skeetster playing Skeet Ulrich. And Tori Spelling playing Nev Campbell's character. It's like, oh, this is really fun. Like, I really like that. It's very clever. And you see these scenes throughout the movie, like it's on television. You have like our characters reacting to that, and you have like Jamie Kennedy's like, I'll fucking get it on video. I don't need to watch him being pissed off about having an unknown play him. And he was like a relatively unknown person in that movie. I was actually watching a video today. So I just want to like learn about the history of the Scream franchise a little bit more. And Jamie Kennedy was talking about how he was cast in a movie, and how it was Wes Craven at the end that got him the part, because they wanted to go with, I think, like the studio wanted to go with Jason Lee, who apparently was like very popular in the 90s. I mean, he was starting stuff like, in Mallrats and things, but he was just, he was already in the studio system. He was already a known name. And Jamie Kennedy really didn't have any credits outside of, I think he was like working on Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and he had some other roles, like small, super minor roles in like Dead Poet Society. And it was Wes Craven who eventually said, I want you in the movie, and he got him. And so it's just interesting to me. I just love looking up the history of this film and these actors, and how even Wes Craven took the real life stuff that these actors were going through and put it like in the sequel and made it even more of a meta commentary. It's really interesting to me. So, but anyway, chat, give you a few more facts about the film, about Scream 2. Actually, let me bring that up. Oh my God, I forgot to bring up, I like to have the Wikipedia page up, chat, so I can just reference a couple of things, Very good. There we go, chat. Scream 2. This came out a year later after the first Scream. Scream 1 was such a huge hit, chat, both in theaters and, of course, on video. And, playing on television, of course. It was in theaters. It was crazy. Like, the first Scream was in theaters for 8 months, and then they brought it out again right on the eve of the release of of Scream 2, because it was so fucking popular. They made it like an additional $20 million. And this film was like so secretive because the studio was so scared that the script was going to leak out, and eventually did. And because of that leak, they actually changed the ending. They changed some of the identities of the killer. Some of them they kept the same, but other ones they changed. And the actors were only getting certain portions of the script, so they didn't know who exactly the killer was. And in case something leaked out, they knew who to trace it to. I don't know like how the script originally got out or anything or who was blamed for that, but that did affect like the ending of the movie. The ending of the movie is still fun, it's still great, and the essence of the film, I think, of that original ending is still there. And they kind of, I think what they end up doing instead, changing it, makes it even more fucking tragic. It's like, oh my god, I think it's better. I do think it's better because the ending that they originally wanted to go with is very similar to the ending of the original film. So I like that they kind of went, we're gonna go in a different direction, which I thought was really cool. That was really cool. And this film was just as successful, I think, as the original film. I think it just made like maybe like $1 million more than the original one. I think the original one made like 170 something million. This one made like 172.4 million dollars. Had a bigger budget, 24 million. A lot of actors were paid more and things, of course. You know, they had an increase in their their not notoriety chat, but their fame, that they would become more recognizable names and stars chat. And you have a lot of fucking big people in this movie chat. I mean, you had Jada Pinkett Smith, you have Omar Epps, of course, who've gone on to do all these shows and movies and things. I mean, you have Liev Schreiber. He has a bigger role in this movie chat. You have you have actors coming in playing the characters from the original film, like I said, like Heather Graham and Luke Wilson and Tori Spelling, and I was like, that's interesting. By the way, I want to say, because the movie, again, very positive critical reception. I think it got even more positive critical reception than the first film. But Tori Spelling, which I'm not too familiar with her as an actress. I guess I've seen her in things, but I guess she got like a Razzie nomination for her performance in this movie. She's barely in the film. She has like 2 scenes. I mean, kinda. Where she's kind of like doing like at the, with, Ebert and Roper kind of thing, or Siskel and Ebert kind of thing, where she's talking like to a critic and they're watching a scene from her movie, like an interview. And it's basically just her doing the dialogue that Nev Campbell did with, Skeet Ulrich's character. And I thought she was fine. She wasn't like, oh my God, this is amazing, or she's good as Nev, but man, she got like a lot of hate. She got like a lot of hate for this. And I'm like, why? It was confusing to me. So I don't know why everyone's hating on fucking poor Tori Spelling, Chad. I thought she did fine. It was like a little cameo. It's like a little in-joke. That's a little meta. But everyone's like, this sucks. I'm like, I guess? I mean, I don't think so. Seemed fine to me. So I didn't get it, Chad. It just shows you kind of the rads. It's like, they used to be relevant, but nowadays they're not really fucking. They're not relevant. It's just kind of just being mean. This is odd. This is very odd. Yeah, very early, very handsome. Timothy Olyphant. Witness me, the moon cocoon. Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Even the rain. Everybody on the dance floor. Rain. Thank you, Moon Cocoon. I love that name. You think with the 10 biddies? I think she might have been one of those actresses like Freddie Prinze Jr. Oh, that people just like to dunk on the time. Maybe that's why they're that's like that kind of shit. It's like, that's just being mean. I'm just like, oh man, I just can't. Bandwagon hating her. Fair enough. That's shitty. That's shitty. Because I'm like, why is she, everyone? Well, I don't get it. They give the 10 biddies. She was fine in the movie. It was literally like, she had less than 5 minutes of screen time. It's like, it was okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You're just hating on her. I was like, why? So goddamn weird. Who else is here, chat? Oh, is Tiger GD here? There's a Tiger GD. Tiger GD, good to see you. Thank you for being part of that raid. No, again, welcome. Currently in the middle of my review for Scream. Just going over some, interesting facts about the movie, of course. The nitty-gritty details and everything. But, interestingly enough, Wes Craven realized, like, a certain reaction to the first Scream about the whole, like, Scream. Like, yes, it repopularized slasher films. It brought that subgenre back to life, chat. And all these various knockoffs. But he also wanted to, like, a big portion of this film's theme is the idea that movies influence negative actions in people. And that's, like, a big part of the film's narrative is, like, are the events of the previous movie and the adaptation. It gets so goddamn meta. Are the events of the previous movie and the movie is based on, is that influencing these new Ghostface killers? And you have this back and forth, and he included in the film, and it's even used as one of the motivations for the killers at the end of the movie. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. So he even predicts, I know you guys are gonna fucking say about this movie and my franchise and me as a filmmaker. I was like, that's pretty goddamn cool. I really dug that. I really dug about this film. Again, it's just Wes Craven analyzing the shit out of the horror genre and people's reactions to the horror genre. Where that one, the original film, he was deconstructing the tropes of those movies, the characters of those movies, certain sequences of those typical movies. And then he was still doing that in the sequel, but also people's reactions to the horror genre itself. People that either enjoyed them or disliked them or wanted to criticize them and blame them for society's ills. I thought it was very interesting. I really fucking dug that, chat. So, but yeah, overall, as I said, this is a great sequel. I think I might just give it to the edge of the original one, but this is just as good as the first one. So, yeah, everyone says this is better. More power to you. I get it. I totally understand. It's a very well-made slasher film, chat. You know, I mean, both these two films are great. After that, 3, not a big fan. I haven't seen 3 in a while. It makes me want to watch 3 and kind of give it another shot because I just remember not really caring for that movie. But, and obviously I got to see Scream 4 and, you know, preparation for the release of Scream 5, or as it's being called, chat, Scream. So we shall see. But, chat, let's go ahead and get into these nitty-gritty details. Let's start at the top. Peter Pansexual, thank you so much for the 10 biddies. Juicy Thug Bro and Miami Connection, who you, bitch. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. I know everyone's been loving Miami Connection. Again, I like the first 10 minutes and I like the last 15 minutes, but then nothing else happens in that movie. But, you know, to each their own. Hardball one, welcome to the stream. The Shape, 13. Super There's fun. Oh, The Shape? Are you referencing Halloween? I see what you did there, The Shape. He was just The Shape. Evil incarnate. I love it, man. 3 isn't bad, but just not as good. But just not good either. Fair enough. I'll give it a shot. I'm going to give it another shot. I'll watch it sometime in the future, chat. Maybe I'll review it. Maybe I'll review it sometime this month. You know, maybe I'll be like a little surprise review. Chat, you didn't expect that. Deconstructed my own tropes of my own reviews. I was like, I surprise you. Maybe I'll do this one thing. I'll say I'm doing this one thing, and then boom, I'll do Scream 3. And I'll either be surprised or disappointed. But we'll see. But, chat, let's go ahead and start this review off. We have black people, chat. I will say the original Scream had a distinct lack of the black people, chat. And Wes Craven, you know what? I'll give you some black men, and I'm going to give you them right at the beginning of the horror film. And I love it because this is just a nice little meta commentary on how black women and black men are often treated in horror films. And they're represented, chat, in the characters of Omar Epps, not Mike Epps, who I've made that mistake many times. They look nothing like each other, chat, but I've always called Omar Epps Mike Epps. I'm sorry. I apologize to Omar, chat. We got Omar Epps, and we have Jada Pinkett Entanglement Smith, chat. Good old Entanglement herself. And they're going on a nice little date, chat. They're going to go see a sneak preview, which they say it's a sneak preview, but it's not, because everyone fucking knows about it. That kind of defeats the purpose of a sneak preview. It's like it's only like a certain amount of people, like an intimate amount of people that go to these things. And it's like, oh, that was nice. And usually it's just, you know, kind of like a critic's place where you get to experiences. But everyone fucking knows about this, quote unquote, sneak preview of Stab, chat, which is an adaptation, a dramatized adaptation of Gale Weathers, chat, Courtney Cox's character from the first film, the events of the original Scream, chat, the Westboro killings, as it's called in her book. And Entanglement Smith is not happy to be going this movie because she doesn't want to see no films, okay, where it's all about the white people. She's like, no, I want to go see the Sandra Bullock movie. But then Omar Epps says, you do realize that Sandra Bullock is a white woman. She goes, I know that, but I like her, okay? She can come to the barbecue, obviously, all right? But I don't want to see no goddamn movie where all these big boob bimbo white girls are getting knocked off one by one, okay? All right? And you know that if they put a black girl in the movie, they're going to be the first one to die off. Or a black man, if they put a chocolate man in that movie, he'll also be the first one to die off. It'll be either of us. That's why he's like, let's just enjoy the film. Let's just enjoy the film. Maybe they'll change one of the characters' races or ethnicities or something. Maybe they'll do that. They always do that in Hollywood. She's like, well, we'll see. And they get their tickets. They go into the theater, chat, and, you know, this is a fucking, again, this is a sneak goddamn preview, but they're giving out so much merchandise for this movie and everything. Like, here's your fucking Ghostface costume. Here is your Ghostface holographic, glow-in-the-dark plastic knife. And Jada Entanglement Smith, she takes this and she's like, what is this? That's from the studio. They want you to wear it. And she goes, I will not wear this white face right here, okay? You see this? This is a black face. And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm just handing out costumes. Omar Epps is like, I'm sorry. She's a little mad. She's a little mad right now, a little peeved. But they go in the theater, and this is the kind of screen that's like, this is my ultimate nightmare. It's like Lord of the fucking Flies in here, chat, because you have 25 to 45-year-old men and women who are literally just tearing each other apart. This is the scariest part in the film, where they're just running down the aisle, They're throwing soda at each other. They're just doing like the fake like psycho stabs, and it's like fucking brutality, Chad. Barbarism has taken over this theater, and all the staff there just have this dead-eyed expression, just like, my job is awful. This is horrible. I'm just gonna stand here, and hopefully if I don't move, it'd be like the Tyrannosaurus Rex shit. If I don't move, they won't see me. They won't see me. In that case, it actually happens, because fucking, Entanglement Smith, she's like, Jesus Christ, I can't. I want to go see Sandra Bullock right now, but fine, let's go ahead and sit down. So they sit down, her and Omar Epps and everything, and then the movie starts, Chat. The Scream adaptation starts, and you have Heather Graham, who I think was one of the people they considered or tried out for the part of the Drew Barrymore character, but here she is playing the Drew Barrymore character from the original film, which I think is really, really fucking funny. House is different. It has even bigger windows, Chat. Like, one of my issues with the first movie, not even an issue, but I thought was very funny, is you have Drew Barrymore locking all the doors in her house, and yet every fucking door has this giant pane of glass, Chad, this huge, like, body-sized pane of glass. Like, what's the fucking point? You just can fucking throw something in here. I can throw like, a brick, and I'll easily get in. This one, the walls are just all made of glass. I thought, like, oh, I see what you're doing there, Wes Craven. Very funny. And we see good old Heather Graham, Chad. She's going to go see, but it's like a dramatized version of the events of the first film, because in the original film, as you remember, Chat, with Drew Barrymore, she was just fucking making some popcorn and shit. She was waiting for Steve, her boyfriend. Then she gets that call, do you like scary movies and all that shit? But here we see Heather Graham, Chat. She's in her bathrobe, and she's about to take a nice hot shower, Chat. That's what's going on, and she fucking unravels the her wardrobe, Chat, unravels, the thing around her, and everyone's like, woo, boobs! Everyone's very excited for the Heather Graham bosom, Chat. I'm like, who wouldn't be? She's a beautiful looking girl. But she throws her, bathrobe down, but then she hears a little ring-a-ding-ding on the telephone, okay? And so she goes to the telephone, Chat, and she picks it up. Hello? He's like, who is this? And she's like, my name is Heather Graham. Who are you? And he's like, do you like scary movies? So this new version of Ghostface, he's like, I'm getting right to it, okay? We got to move along. And Jada Pinkett Smith, again, I think, boobs, yay, right? Call me Hazel. Good to see you. Hope you're doing very well. Well, there was no nudity. They didn't show it. It's funny. There's actually no nudity in the first two Scream movies. Despite being R-rated, it's R-rated for all the gore and the cursing and things. But no bazungas. No implied nudity, yes. There's implied nudity, but you don't actually see anything. It's very PG. Skeet Ulrich would not like this. This is very, our relationship was going hot and heavy. R going on to NC-17, but now it's edited for TV, PG-13. Very, very true. Very true. And I'm just like, I want to see boobs. Like, they're very upset. But at this point, Jada Pinkett Smith, I think they're leaning into the stereotype. It's getting very meta about how black people in movies will talk to the screen and say, girl, don't you do that. Star 69, his ass. Everyone's like, please be quiet. She's like, I will slap you, okay? I'm an entanglement. And I think all I have to say was, no, I hate Scream. Exactly. So I think Wes Craven, he's like, I'm getting so meta with this. I'm examining just, typical, movie etiquette and theater experience culture. But that was very interesting. But Omar Epps, he's like, all right, oh boy, why are you doing this? She's like, well, I'm gonna say what I want to say, but I'm gonna go get me some popcorn and a soda. Give me money. And he's like, you have money. She goes, I know I have money, but I want your money to pay for the popcorn and soda for your movie. And he's like, all right, Jesus. And so he pays her the money. She gets up. And she goes, and she gets the popcorn. There's these two girls behind her. It's like, I don't want to go see this movie. It's based on real events, and it's super dramatized and not accurate, and people actually died, and it's really horrible. And then she goes back to the theater chat, and then, someone in Ghostface, the Ghostface chat mask scares her. She's like, eh! And it's Omar Epps, and he's laughing, and she's like, why the fuck did you do that? That was really mean. He's like, I'm sorry, baby. I was just getting in the spirit. And she's like, I know. He's like, listen. We can go see the Sandra Bullock movie, chat. We can go see the Sandra Bullock movie. And she's like, no, listen, I'm sorry. I just, I don't like, I'm not a big fan of scary movies, okay? So we can stay and watch it. And he's like, come on, let's go sit down. And he's like, hold on, I'll be right up, right with you. I got to go to the bathroom, okay? And so she goes back in the theater, and he goes in the bathroom. Both the urinals are taken by guys in complete Ghostface regalia, chat. And he's just like, all right, I'll go to the stall. You know, he goes to one of the stalls, tries to open. There's a guy, and the guy's like, hey, stop it. And he's like, oh, sorry. And he goes to the next stall, chat. He unzips, and he just goes to town. But then in the next stall, the stall that he was just in, he hears this guy just, oh, mommy's going to think I'm a dirty boy. Mommy's gonna think I'm a dirty, dirty boy. And he's like laughing. He's like, is this guy jerking off? Is this guy jerking off? Where he's listening to this guy talking about his mom or something like that. He's like, Mom doesn't want me to masturbate. And he's like, listening to this. He's like, oh, this is fucking hilarious. And so Omar Epps, I don't know why then, but I don't know why he would like, if I heard that, I'd be like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be involved in a murder. But chat, in this case, Omar Epps is a black man in a horror film, chat, and we have now come to the first blackrifice of the movie, chat. It is not the last. It is not the last, chat. And so he puts his ear to the wall of the stall, listening in, and then a fucking knife, a person in a Ghostface mask shoves this knife through the wall of the stall, and at first I thought it went into his fucking cheek. I guess it went into his head or something, like the meaty part of Omar Epps. And then he's like, oh, he's trying to like pull out. He's gonna like, not in a sexual way. But the guy, like, you know, Ghostface pulls the knife out, and the Omar Epps is like, just blood and gore and everything coming out. And then he falls down dead, chat. He bleeds out. God damn it! Earplay gone wrong? I assume so. Curiosity did indeed kill the cat, or in this case, killed Omar Epps. And then Ghostface walks out of the stall, you know, finishes jerking off, I imagine, and then cleans the knife off as the other two Ghostfaces who just finished peeing at the urinals, they go out. Ooh, Deadpool, thank you so much. Thank you so much. How many is it? That's 10 biddies. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Can you ear me now? I mean, at this point, yeah. I mean, Ghostface could have went to town on him. There's no doubt. Thank you, Deadpool. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. But at this point, we cut back to Jada Pinkett Smith, who is still watching the fictitious events of the first Scream movie. Heather Graham is getting, you know, chased by the Ghostface killer and doing, I'm gonna get you, bitch, doing all that whole thing. And then eventually, seemingly, Omar Epps comes and sits down next to her, but he's wearing the Ghostface, but it's not Omar Epps, chat. It's Ghostface. And she's like, hey, babe, do you want some soda? Do you want some popcorn? And she's like, okay. And they keep watching the movie, and this is the part where, like, Heather Graham's getting just, like, stabbed to death. And then she feels Omar Epps' jacket, and her hands come up covered in blood, and she's like, oh! And then the Ghostface killer looks at her and starts stabbing her in the tummy. Talk about entanglement, just twisting and entangling all those innards, chat. And everyone's like freaking out in the theater. Everyone's like, yeah, death is happening on screen. Everyone's just losing their minds, like the worst theater experience possible, chat. Just stabbing the shit. That's Jada Pinkett Smith. In all this chaos, is just getting stabbed to death by this other person. And eventually, Ghostface is like, I legitimately thought everyone would see me stabbing her. Oh, well. So Ghostface just leaves while Jada Pinkett Smith's like, oh, and she's like waddles up on stage with all of her intestines in her hand. She gives like a, and she falls over dead, chat. Second person dead in the movie. Another black person. I mean, it was right. Wes Craven's like, yes, I know black people die first in horror films, and I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm also going to talk about it. It's that meta commentary, but I'm also going to do it anyway. It's like, holy shit. Well, she's like, ah. She has a very prolonged death wail, chat, and she falls down. Everyone's like, was that real? Yes, it was. Yes, it was, chat. And Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Entanglement Smith have died. They have died, chat. They are the first victims of this new copycat Ghostface killer, chat. Or has Ghostface driven the grave? We don't fucking know. Maybe there's going to be a supernatural element, chat. I mean, that's what happens to the Halloween franchise. I mean, fucking Michael gets all supernatural. Maybe that's a part of it. We don't know at this point. But then, chat, we transition, and we go see what the white characters are doing. That's like, all right. I gave you black characters. Let's go see what the white people are doing now. And we're on a university of some southern Ohio school or something. And we see the bedroom of one Nev Campbell, chat. Sidney Prescott. She has shorter hair. And she's wearing a sports bra and stuff. She's sleeping in, chat. And she looks so cute. She's a cutie patootie, chat, still. And there's a little ring-a-ding-ding on her telephone. And she picks up the telephone. She's like, hello? And the guy on the other end's like, do you like scary movies? And she's like, not really. And he's like, do you have a favorite scary movie? Do you know who I am? And she goes, yeah, I know who you are. And she reads off she has like one of those things where she reads off the person's number and his name, and she's like, you know that's like a federal crime, right? You know, these kind of calls, harassing him. He's like, oh, fucking shit, I'm sorry. And he fucking hangs up. She goes, yeah. And then she's like getting up, and her best friend, Haley, walks in, good old Haley, and she's like, was that another call? I mean, we should really talk to someone about this. She's like, don't worry about it. It's opening night of the movie. It'll die off soon. We'll see what happens. Got that caller ID, exactly. She's got that caller ID now. And she's getting ready and things. He's like, hey, do you want to hang out later and stuff? And she's like, yeah, sure, that'll be fun. But then she turns on the good old boob tube, the television, the 90s era TV. And who does she see? Liev Schreiber, having an interview. Of course, you know, due to the events of the original film, Liev Schreiber was exonerated, He wasn't responsible for the murder of Nev Campbell's mother, even though he spent a year in jail. And now he is on the interview train. He's going across all the different networks, doing these fucking interviews, talking about his time in prison and being wrongfully accused by one Sidney Prescott, Nev Campbell. And it's like, oh boy. But as soon as, she turns the channel, and then we see, new murders apparently. New murders happened at the recent screening of Stab, the very dramatized events of the Westboro killings, where they had the Ghostface killer. 2 people have died, 2 university students who go to the very university that Nev Campbell goes to, She's like, oh no, it's happening again. I must talk to Jamie Kennedy. And so as she's exiting her dorm, Haley's like, girl, do you need any help? She's like, I got it. I got to go talk to Jamie Kennedy. She leaves her dorm, and who do we fucking see? We see all the reporters there, and they're all crying around, and they won't give this fucking girl a minute to herself, And you're like, do you believe that this is the same types of killings that you went through in Westboro? Did you think that this killer is after you? Who do you think is next? She's like, fuck off. I don't want to talk to you, which I get, She just wants to learn. She's getting a theater degree, okay? She doesn't want to have time for all this killer nonsense, but she needs to talk to Jamie Kennedy, And we transition to Jamie Kennedy's film discussion class. We're introduced to a whole bunch of characters, and they're talking about the recent murders as well. Specifically, if this new killer is being influenced by the events of Stab, right? The dramatized events of the last movie. And you have certain people in the class are saying, obviously, that they're emulating culture, and culture is, constantly put into films, and we want to bring about that cultural renaissance of death. And Jamie Kennedy's like, that's bullshit. Listen, as someone who went through this kind of stuff, you can't blame the movies for this. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's in the scene too. She's like, I agree with Jamie Kennedy. And then you have Timothy Olyphant's like, sequels are great. I love sequels. Who's with me? And Jamie Kennedy's like, no, horror movie sequels suck. The original's always better. And Timothy Olyphant's like, no, aliens, man, aliens. And, everyone's like, but then Jim Cannon's like, I prefer Alien to Aliens, thank you very much. And this is interesting. He's arguing with this other student, too, who is like, come on, man, Aliens is great. Get away from her, you bitch. And Jamie Kennedy's like, it's actually stay away from her, you bitch. Just to correct you, my friend, which actually is incorrect. The original kid did get it right, And Jamie Kennedy's admitted, I was fed the wrong dialogue. I didn't know at the time. They're going back and forth, and Timothy Olyphant's like, well, fucking what about Terminator 2? And Sarah Michelle Gellar was like, oh my God, you have a hard-on for James Cameron. He's like, if you say that to me one more time, I'll stab you. And he's just like, whoa, okay. And Jamie Kennedy does an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Everyone's going on about sequels, but Jamie Kennedy, his whole thing is like, obviously, horror movie sequels suck. There's no question about that. Which, oftentimes that is kind of true. I love that fucking Wes Craven. He's already like preemptively criticizing his own film, which I think is really funny. But then, Nev Campbell, she shows up, and her and Jamie Kennedy make eye contact, and he knows exactly what she wants to talk about, And, he gets up, everyone leaves for class. Timothy Olyphant plays the character of Mickey, He loves his fucking sequels. Half his dialogue's like, but Godfather Part 2 is better, right? Which I actually agree with Mickey on that one, I think The Godfather Part 2 is a superior film to The Godfather. Not saying The Godfather is a bad movie. I just think the second one is better. That's all I'll say. That's also okay. That's it. Aliens better. Now, I'm on fucking Jamie Kennedy's side. I think Alien is a better film than Aliens, but I still love both those movies. It's to each their own. You know, Aliens is an action film, action sci-fi film. Aliens is a gothic horror slasher in space. But you know, whichever you prefer, no and no. But Nev Campbell, she starts talking to Jamie Kennedy. He's on the move. And all of a sudden, he just starts to do a British accent where I'm not sure why. He just starts talking with a British accent. Because she's like, have you heard about, like, the recent murders? She's like, I have not heard about the recent murders. And she's like, it's just like Westboro. Oh, you like to think that, would you? Jamie Kennedy, why are you doing this? But they keep talking. And I could see. And also, they changed his look. Too. Like, before he's like, oh, it's kind of like really nerdy. I mean, he's still looking nerdy, but he's got like these, 70s era sideburns. He's got like a little goatee. I was like, I get it. You know, they're showcasing the characters involved. It's been 2 years since the events of the last film, chat, because now they're in college now. At this point, seemingly also going to the same university in Ohio. Who would have thought, chat? They're walking and talking, and Jamie Kennedy's like, listen, we don't know if this is like the someone who's a copycat killer. It could just be a random murder, Sid. And we don't know. And she's like saying, I have this feeling. And there's like some chemistry between Jamie Kennedy and Nev Campbell. Like, obviously, Jamie Kennedy's character, he has this unrequited love towards Nev. Towards Sidney Prescott. But, he's the geek. He's the guy that never gets the girl, okay? He's never going to have that opportunity. And that's also part of the narrative in this goddamn movie, too, is that you're never going to get her, sadly. He's a college man now. He's a little more confident, which I love. What's Nev says? She's studying theater. So she's going to get her theater degree, and hopefully that'll work out for her. But, right when there was about to be like a moment, like a loving moment between Jamie Kennedy and Nev Campbell, who fucking walks in, chat? Jerry O'Connell. Now, Jerry O'Connell, chat, as you know, he was a fat kid. He was the fat kid in Stand By Me, always stuffing his fucking fat face with Twinkies and ding-dongs and whatever else he could get his little chubby fingers on, chat. But now he's a fucking hunk. He looks fucking great, chat. I mean, I'm like, you're trying to tell me that's a freshman? That's now a goddamn freshman, Chad. That's a 35-year-old man. But I'm like, all right, I'll give it to you. Like, hey, Chad, he lost all that weight and he looks amazing. And he walks over. His name is Derek, Chad. We're going to call him Jerry O'Connell for sake of convenience. And he is Sid's new boyfriend. And he immediately puts himself between Jamie Kennedy and Sid. And he just goes, how you doing, girlfriend? And just starts kissing her, Chad. Just open-mouthed kissing her. And you just see the saddest fucking expression on Jamie Kennedy's face. He's like, oh, he's so sad. Cat's face. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We'll talk about a very sad-faced Jamie Kennedy at this point. And so they keep walking, and he's just like, oh, I just care about you, Sidney, because these murderers are very similar to what you went through when you told me about it, and I just want to be the best boyfriend I could possibly be because I love you. And she's like, yeah. Like, he is like so in love with her and is so caring for her, and she's like super standoffish, but you understand why, because of the trauma with the skeetster, with discount Johnny Depp, chat. She doesn't want to have another discount Johnny Depp situation where she's almost murdered, so that's where she's a little standoffish. But you could tell that Jerry O'Connell is like, he cares, or does he care for her, chat? We don't know yet. But they're going back and forth. But then who fucking walks over, chat? Because everyone's doing interviews. There's this big fucking interview going on with the police, the sheriff of the town that they're in. And who do we see? Gail goddamn Weathers, chat. Courtney Cox, she's back. And she wants to ask some questions of the sheriff. But everyone's asking her questions. Everyone wants her fucking opinion, chat, on all this stuff. And because, she was famously involved in the Westboro killings. She, famously involved herself in that. And, her fucking movie's coming out. So everyone wants to hear your opinion. She's now the news story, chat. She wants to report the news. She wants to make a quick buck. There's no doubt about it. But then she finds herself immersed in the story itself. And she also has a new cameraman, chat. His name is Joel. He is not as fat and or Cheeto crazy as Kenny was, chat. R.I.P. for Kenny, Kenny, chat. He's eating Cheetos in heaven, chat. Eating Cheetos and Fritos and Doritos to his heart's content. But we got Joel, who is this new cameraman who is unaware of the situation that he has found himself in. But, she's like, I'm happy to be here. But, this whole murder thing's kind of got me a little spooked. It's got me a little spooked, Gal. And she's like, listen, I'm going to tell you what the fuck to do. and you're going to point the camera. He's like, first of all, bitch, don't talk to me that way. Joel's got a little bit more self-confidence than Kenny, chat. See, Kenny, he just stuffed himself. Killing food was his crutch, and he just ate all the time because of Gail's abuse. Joel ain't like that, okay? He's like, you do not talk down to me, okay? I'm going to work with you here, but you do not. So I'm all for Joel. Joel's got a spine. Kenny did not. His turned into a Cheeto Puff. And he has the camera, and then chat. One of the other reporters comes in, played by the great Lori Metcalf, and she's a local reporter, and she wants to say, like, oh, Gail, I just want to take a moment to talk to you because I'm a huge fan of your book. I read it several times. I took your seminar in Chicago. I was the person in the front row asking all the questions, and I just want to get your opinion on a few things. And Gail Weathers, she's like, I have no time for this, okay? Listen, I know you want to ask me all these questions, but how about this? How about you fuck off? And Lori Metcalf's like, okay, that's fair. I'll quote you on that. And then she leaves. And then we have Gail talking to the sheriff, and this guy just looks ancient. I'm like, I think he's going to keel over soon. And this guy's basically the sheriff saying, we don't know. We don't know if this is a copycat killer. We don't know if this is a serial killer, okay? There's no evidence to showcase that this is indeed a killer, okay? So just take it easy, take it easy. And she's like, all right, whatever. And then, chat, we see Sidney and fucking Jamie Kennedy and Haley. She's there now, too. And Jerry O'Connell, they're all sitting around. And then all of a sudden, Haley, like, her big obsession is to get into this frat. Or this, not frat, what's the female, sorority. And it's like the fucking Stepford Wives. And she's like, I want to be a Stepford wife, Nev. And she's like, you do know they're like robot women. And they're like replaced and stuff. It's like a nightmare. And she's like, I know, I want to be a robot. And she's like, okay. And then we see these like just Karens in the making, Chad. Obviously, like Karens in the making, these they have like this doll-esque white skin. It's like it's so pale, it looks like plastic. And they have this bleach blonde hair. It's all done up. And they have these giant fucking eyes. And they just walk over, Chad, like fucking robots. And Haley's just like, oh my God, I can't wait to be a Stepford wife. And they're like, well, we need to make some changes. It's like, that's racist. But they're all obsessed with fucking Nev because they're like, ooh. And the reason why, Chad, you get, I mean, I felt like this. I can see where, like, ooh, you would suspect them as possibly being the killers in the movie because they're so obsessed with Nev. They're a red herring, Chad. I see what fucking Wes Craven was doing. I'm like, I'm reading between the lines. I see what you're doing here. But they're all about Nev. And yeah, we'll let her black friend join, but we're about Nev Campbell. And they're like, oh my God, like, this is just so horrible. Like, what happened recently, Nev? I mean, do you want to tell us about it? You want to go to our sorority and, like, talk about it with us? And she's like, I don't really want to do that. She's like, why don't you come to the party? Why don't you take Pledge, whatever her name is, I don't know. You take her with you, okay? And you come here, we'll have some drinks, we'll have some fun, and we can talk about you joining our sorority. Omega, Alpha, Kappa, Zeta, where the fuck it is, I don't know. Good old bait and switch, very much so. It's like, but it throws you up because the secrecy of this movie was huge, chat. I mean, they didn't want anything to leak off, so they have all these fucking red herrings. They're constantly thrown at you. And you can tell, it's like, oh, I can see, like, that actually wouldn't be bad for a sequel. The idea of this sorority who's just obsessive maintaining their power, and they want, like, this very popular student to be a part of that to give them more, to make them more famous, be infamous even. So I was like, I can see what you're doing, Wes Craven. But Nev is like, I don't really want to fucking do that. And then, Chad, she spots over the Stepford Wives' shoulder, Dewey. Good old David Arquette. Dewey got a little fucked up in the last movie. As we know, Chad, he got stabbed, and now his leg don't work very well. His leg doesn't really work very well, and he's got like a hand issue. Like, his hand's always like this now. It's like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And he just looks like a fucking sad sack now. It's like, oh God, he's left the force apparently, Chad. He's left the force. And, Nev, she wants to go see Dewey. His mustache looks even more pathetic, Chad. It's like, I'm glad Dewey survived. Originally, Dewey was supposed to die, Chad. David Arquette's character was supposed to die at the end of the film, but Wes Craven filmed an additional scene with David Arquette where he gives a little thumbs up at the end when he's being wheeled into the ambulance, and that tested way better with audiences than him dying. So he's like, all right, I'll keep David Arquette. And he's been in all the movies as far as I know. I think he's in 3, I know that, and I assume I think he's in 4 as well. So I guess he's gonna be in 5. We'll see. But she goes over there and he hugs her. And he's like, I came as soon as I heard about the murders. Are you doing okay? She's like, let's talk. And so they have a nice little conversation. I can see where, because you got to remember, Chad, Deputy Dewey's sister of Rose McGowan, she was killed. She was killed in the last movie, Chad. Her bazungas got stuck in the garage door and her head were crushed and she died. And so he thinks of Nev as his big bazungaed sister, but not in a sexual way. And so they have a nice little conversation, learn about what she's been doing. She's studying theater and things. And he's like, listen, I just want to make sure that everything's okay with you, Nev, And she's like, well, I'll make sure things are okay with you, Dewey. We both went through it together. He's like, yeah, I know. I mean, I have my injuries, but you came out with scars, too. And it's true, Chad. She got a few physical scars. She got them mental scars, Chad. She's got them mental scars. Chris, check out the MTV Scream series. Is that connected to the movies? Is that connected to the movies, the Scream series, the TV? I never watched it. I know absolutely nothing about that film. Dewey does pretty well for himself. Well, that's true. Lump is gone. He's married for Gail. He says, oh, yeah, no, it works out for him. I mean, he goes through the fucking ringer in a lot of these films, especially 2. My God. He goes through it in 2. And he's just like, I just want to make sure that, your friend, you can trust your friends. Do you feel like you can trust your friends, Nev? And she doesn't answer him because he's like, she doesn't fucking trust her friends. Doesn't trust her friends. And he's like, well, it was good talking to you, Dewey, but I have a lot to think of. He's like, okay. All right, no problem. And so she goes back to her friends and talking with Jerry O'Connell and Haley and shit. And they're asking, who's that guy? And she's like, that's our fucking resident big brother, Deputy Dewey. And fucking Jamie Kennedy sees Deputy Dewey. He's like, I'm going to go say hi. I love that. It's fucking Westboro's best and brightest. Like, he doesn't say that facetiously. So you think, oh, he's going to say it sarcastically? No, because he fucking saved our lives. Those 2 years ago. So he goes ahead and he goes say hi to Dewey at this point. But then, Chad, right before they're about to leave, fucking Courtney Cox, get with her. She comes over. She wants to talk to Nev Campbell. She's like, hey, Nev, it's so good to see you. Listen, I just want to do like a brief little interview with you. You don't mind that? She's like, I don't really want to do it. She's like, that's great. It's going to be only a couple minutes. And hold on, I just want to introduce you to someone. And she brings over, chat, Liev Schreiber, who she accused of murdering her mom, the whore, all those years ago. And he's like, hi, Sidney. And she fucking bamboozled. Gail Weathers bamboozled Nev Campbell. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? And when they have the camera, Joel's there is like, I'm just fucking filming at this point. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the history between all these characters, okay? I'm just a man with a camera. And then we have goddamn Liev Schreiber, and he's like, well, as someone who was falsely accused by Nev Campbell all those years ago and spending a year in jail, it got me thinking, Nev, that I'm a man who forgives, and I forgive you for falsely accusing me. And Gail's like, and what do you have to say to Liev Schreiber, Nev? And she's like, fuck you. And she's like, oh, don't hit me. And fucking Nev Campbell just like, bah! And she backhands her, Chad. She backhands her. And then Haley walks in and is like, did you get that on camera? And, fucking Joel the cameraman is a super underrated character because he's probably the smartest person in the movie. But he has this fucking line where he says, I got that on camera. mocking Haley's character. Really, really fucking funny. There's a lot of humor in these movies, especially this one. I think I found myself like laughing more. Like a lot of great laughs in one. But there's some really funny scenes in this film. And they fucking walk away. They walk away. Meanwhile, Joel helps. Oh no, Liev. He's talking to Courtney Cox. He's like, didn't you tell her that we're gonna do this interview? You told me you were gonna tell her. You told me this. Did you fucking surprise her like this? Come on, this is gonna make me look bad. And she's like, listen, you big fucking lummox. I will do what I want. Okay, you just do what you're fucking told. And he's like, oh. This is when we get the sense that Liev is kind of like a piece of shit. He's all about that limelight, chat, like that year in prison, that trial and everything. That's like probably the best of his life. He wants it, shit. He yearns for it. He loves the attention. And he's then set up as a suspect. And we'll get into that in a little bit, chat. A lot of the original ending of this movie is interesting. I still like the ending we got. The original ending has some cool little twists and turns, in my opinion. But fucking Courtney Cox, she gets up, and then she sees Dewey, and she goes over and talks to Dewey. But the good old Dewey, Chad, David K. wants nothing to do with her. He's like, I got nothing to say to you. She's like, whoa, why are you so upset? He's like, I read your book. And she goes, did you like it? He's like, really? And he's like, and he starts quoting the pages. Page 31. Deputy Dewey has the charisma of fucking, what was it? Of Don Knotts. fucking Don Knotts, you know, with his police character from that TV show, the Andy Griffith Show. And she's like, oh, come on. Don Knotts was really charming. Page 41, his his inexperience is obvious, but charming. And she's like, listen, I exaggerate a little bit. We all know you saved our lives. She's like, well, thousands and millions of people don't know that. You humiliated me, and I thought we had something. She's like, I listen. I'm a piece of shit. You know that. I gotta do what I gotta do with the money, honey. Okay, I still want you. Come here. And she's like, tries to fucking kiss him, and he's like, no, get your fucking hands off me, you witch. And he's like, and you know, maybe my, you know, I put on an air of inexperience because I'm actually very experienced. I let people, you know, put down their defenses with me, and I learn more about them. You ever thought of that, bitch? And he fucking walks away, and she's like, oh. She's very offended by that. Gail don't give a shit. Gail's like, I don't give a fuck. I want the money. That's what she's all about. After that chat, we then cut Nev and Haley. They have gone to the Stepford Wives, you know, party, and they're having a good time. Hey, you know, Nev doesn't want to be there. She's like, I don't want to fucking join the goddamn Stepford Wives. They're crazy. And they replace us with robots. And Haley's like, well, being a robot's fucking cool. And here, eat this brownie thing. And she's like, no. And she just fucking, she like sniffs it and she throws it. There's marijuana. There's the devil's lettuce in this. And I will not have a marijuana cookie and or brownie, Haley. And she throws it away. And they keep talking, and then the Stepford Wives walk up, and they ignore Haley because, oh my God, Nev, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you brought your mulatto-colored friend. That's you know what? That's awesome. That's awesome. We need a little color here. We need a little color. It's like racism. And they're like obsessed, but then fucking Jamie Kennedy goes in there to save the goddamn day because he knows what do all these Stepford Wife racist bitches need? Alcohol to shut them up, chat. And he comes in with some vodka martinis. Here you go, my ladies. And they just start, oh, this is fucking great. And they leave Nev and Haley alone. Jerry O'Connell joins in. It was a broccoli brownie? Oh, no. Oh, no. It was a Nile brownie. Did the Stepford Wives get Nile brownie? I hope not. Oh, no. Or it was a Call Me brownie. Call Me Hazel's still here. Hey, wait a minute. The Stepford Wives got you, Naya. They got you. You and Call Me Hazel. Oh, my Lord. You're the latest edition of the Stepford Wives sorority. But then Jerry O'Connell comes in. He's talking to Nev, and you know, there's some awkwardness. He's like, hey, how you feeling today? She's like, oh, you know, a little awkward, a little weirded out. And Mickey, chat, good old Mickey, you know, Timmy Olyphant, he's like throwing out sequels to Jamie Kennedy. He's like, this is better than this movie. This is better. He's like, Empire Strikes Back. And Jamie Kennedy's like, it was planned in the trilogy, man, so it doesn't fucking count. Which is like, come on, Jamie Kennedy, you got to give him that one. Empire is most of the time looked upon as the best, one of the greatest sequels of all time. Man, that fucking trilogy was not planned. Hey! Yeah. It was Nia. You are the Ghostface killers. It was Nia, Josh, and Color Me Hazel all along. I knew it was a cabal. It was a trio. And maybe it was a trio originally in Scream 2, chat. That would have been fun. But nothing's happening at the party, chat, the Stepford Wives, and we move over to Sarah Michelle Gellar, chat, and she's the sober sister at her sorority, chat, and so when everyone else is getting drunk and on drugs and having fun, she's got to stay home and be the sober sister in case anyone calls and anyone needs, like, to throw up and stuff. You know that, like, you got to be there for your girlfriends. Like, oh my God, like, hold my hair back. I'm gonna fucking vom. Like, you gotta hold her hair back and so she doesn't get any vomit, because you don't want a girlfriend with vomit in her hair, chat, because that's not gonna be good for you or her, because you know how hard it is to get vomit out of hair? It's fucking hard. It's fucking gross, and you're gonna be very mad about it, and she's not gonna want to talk to you, chat. Not like I know this from personal experience or anything, but you gotta hold that girl's hair back, chat. Do it. But Sarah Michelle Gellar, another member of the Scooby Gang. It's a lot of Scooby-Doo people in the Scream series. But she's there, chat, and she's stuffing herself full of Cheetos and pizza, and she's like, oh, I've eaten so much. By the way, this is the same year that Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out, chat. I don't know if it already premiered before this movie, but she was on The Rise, chat, one of the most popular and recognizable stars, of course, of the late 90s and early 2000s, chat, Sarah Michelle Gellar. But she's there, Chad. She gets a good old little ring-a-ding-ding on the phone. She picks it up, and she's like, hello? And he's like, hi, how you doing? And she's like, who is this? Oh no, she's talking to someone else on the phone. She's like talking to one of her girlfriends. She's like, I just eaten so much pizza. I have a food baby. She's like, that's so cute. Take a picture, put it on Instagram. Except Instagram doesn't exist because it's 1997. She's like, I'll do it like in 11 years or something. They're going back and forth. But then she's like, hold on, someone else is on the line. Keep getting this call. And so she picks up the phone. She's like, hello? And it's like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, Tommy? It was like, this guy's name is Tommy or Timothy or some bullshit. I'm going to call him Tommy for the sake of convenience, chat. And she's like, he's like, is this you? Are you drunk? Are you fucking drunk? And he's like, no, I just want to talk to you. And she's like, hold on. She goes back to her girlfriend. She says, listen, I think Tommy's on the phone. He sounds really drunk. You know how he fucking gets. And she's like, I understand. We'll talk to you later. And she's like, she hangs up. She's like, okay, hello, Tommy. Are you okay? They're like, this isn't Tommy. And she goes, oh, well, who do you want to talk with? Who? He's like, I want to talk to you for a second. And she's like, okay, all right. What do you want to talk about? I mean, we only have time for this. He's like, do you like scary movies? It's like, oh, Chad, it's like the original film all over again. Oh my lord! Except the killer's going after the sober sister, Chad. She's not having any sex. She's not having any drugs right now. She's just there stuffing herself with Cheetos and pizza. Okay, talking about a social media service that does not yet exist. That's all she's been doing. All right. She's like, they're not gonna kill Sarah Michelle Gellar off. By the way. There was like a little chemistry between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jamie Kennedy in the film class. They're like, oh, they were looking at each other, chat, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, nor will it ever happen, chat. And so they're talking, and then eventually he starts getting like aggressive. He's like, can I ask you a question? She's like, sure. He's like, do you want to fucking die tonight? And she's like, whoa, dude. She's like, goodbye. And she fucking hangs up, and she starts going to all the fucking doors, lock them and shit. She goes outside to see if anyone's out there, and she goes back in. Then this one sister goes, hi, girl. She's like, oh. And she's like, whoa, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know. Like, there's this guy who was like harassing me or something. He called, and it wasn't like Tommy, who was my drunk boyfriend. It's some guy who says he's like gonna kill me. And she's like, oh, it's just, people are going crazy because that new Stab movie's out. I mean, they're just emulating, what they see on the screens. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. She's like, okay. And the phone rings again. And the friend takes it. And she answers like, hello? And he's like, is Sarah Michelle Gellar there? And she's like, is it like, this is Timothy? And she goes, oh, okay. Here it's Timothy. And then the fucking background chat, we see Ghostface come into the house. He walks through the fucking door unbeknownst to the other two characters. Like, well, this ain't fucking good. This ain't good. She's like, listen, I'm going to go get fucking drunk and hammered and to have all the alcohol and all the drugs that my body could consume without me dying. You're the sober sister, so if anything bad happens, you got to pick us up, okay? And so she fucking leaves, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar was like, oh, okay. But then she goes to like a closet or something, and bah, Ghostface jumps out, and he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you, bitch. And he fucking chases her throughout the entire house. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she ain't going down without a fight, Chad. That I will say. She like throws like bricks at him. She throws like books and shit. She throws Cheetos in a pizza box, chat. But she's like so stuffed with Cheetos and like pizza. She's like, oh, she's like waddling. It's hard for her, chat. It's hard for her. And she manages to go up the stairs. It's like a fucking 4-story goddamn sorority. It's crazy. And she throws like a bicycle at Ghostface. And he's like, what the fuck? Who has a bicycle on a staircase? It's very weird. And eventually, though, they're like in the attic area or something. She's going through it. But Ghostface just fucking grabs her and just fucking throws her through the window like the Kool-Aid man, chat. Oh, yeah. And she lands there, chat. She's like glass inside of her tummy and it's leaking pizza sauce and Cheetos, just like Kenny. Death very similar to Kenny, chat, in this case. And he like comes up behind her, just starts stabbing the shit out of her back and booty. And then he comes around and like stabs her in the chest, chat, right in the bosom area, right there. And he just fucking throws her off the 4-story sorority. She's like, ah! And then fucking hits the concrete floor, Chad, just explodes. A mix of gore, Chad, blood, gore, viscera, Cheetos, and pizza. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is the latest victim, Chad. Wouldn't think that they'd kill her, Chad. Star in their eyes. Wes Craven's like, no, I'm going to make sure that bitch is exploded in the Cheeto and pizza splooge. And so it's like, oh, shit, what the hell's happening? And then the fucking Ghostface killer, he leaves. But then we're back at the party. We're back at the Stepford Wives party at this point. Sarah Baby, hi Sarah Baby, welcome to the stream. Sarah Michelle Gellar just exploded in a gory pizza pie Cheeto explosion. We go back to the Stepford Wives party where everyone starts hearing about the death of Sarah Michelle Gellar. And they're like, fucking Sarah Michelle Gellar just fucking died. There was like Cheetos and stuff. And they leave. He loves killing big stars. And like Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps and shit. You know, I'm sure Sarah Michelle Gellar, all the big stars are dying first. And they go to everyone starts leaving the party and stuff, and we see Laurie Metcalf's character, she's on the scene, and she's like, she gets a quote from all these people, and she goes, "Oh, hi, Gail, good to see you. Listen, yeah, that poor girl, I mean, apparently she's been killed. Another one of these killings. Can you believe it? I got a deadline. I got to get going." And Gail's like, "My God." And Joel, she's like calling for Joel at this point, like, "Get your fucking ass over here. We got to film this shit." "And you mean the blacks die first?" That's how I've said that. Oh, I talked about that. Because Jada Pinkett Smith has his meta commentary. And how black people are also often mistreated in horror films, and they're always the first to die. And Wes Craven said, "Yes, yes, they do," and he did just that. He killed both of them. And they're not the only black people to die in this movie, chat. Let's see how many more black people are in this film. Haley's like, oh no, but not yet, chat, not yet. But you know, we also see Dewey's there, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Dewey. How you doing?" And he's like, "You just love stuff like this, don't you? You're just so happy these murders are happening." She's like, "I don't want like people to die and stuff." He's like, "Yeah, well, you know, don't show me your bosoms, okay? All right." And she's like, "Dewey, can you just smile for me? Give me a little smile." And he's like, "Well, you often see the reversal, chat. You always hear the men saying, 'Can you just give me a smile, honey? You're prettier when you smile.' But they fucking reverse the line. Look at that, beating all these tropes back." She's like, "Can you just smile, Dewey?" And he's like, "I'll smile when I catch the killer." And he leave at this point. But you know, they keep reporting that everyone from the sorority sister house is leaving the Stepford Wives house. They're all going over to see the cheesy Cheeto exploded body of Sarah Michelle Gellar. But Nev and Jerry Connell, they kind of hang back at this point. But Jamie Kennedy, he's even concerned. He's like, "I'm gonna go see because I like that girl. She was in my class. We had like a moment, and now she's dead. But he goes over there, and right before Jerry O'Connell and Nev are about to leave, we hear a little ring-a-ding-ding on the phone. And she's like, "No way. No fucking way." And so, like, Jericho's like, "Are you ready to go see Nev?" She's like, in a minute. And she picks up the phone, and she's like, "Hello?" He's like, "How you doing, Sidney?" And she's like, "Oh my fucking God, how are you like alive and stuff?" "I'm back for the sequel. You're gonna die, bitch." And then she's like, "Leave me alone." And she fucking hangs up the goddamn phone. She turns around, and Ghostface is right there. He's like, "I'm gonna get you, bitch." And he starts chasing her through the house. And Jerry O'Connell, who apparently has no peripheral vision, he's like a fucking horse. He can only see what's straight and like right in front of him. I have no idea why. He starts like, what happened? "Oh God." And he's like, tries to get in the house. She opens the door. And then Nev, she goes to the front door, but then Ghostface like stabs it right through, and it almost hits Jericho. He's like, "Ooh!" He sees the knife, and then Ghostface starts chasing Nev, and she's throwing like fucking bowls of popcorn and soda bottles at him. Chap, Pepsi Cola, you got Coca-Cola, you got Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper. Ghostface like, "The fuck, all these sodas, my lord, all the you know the pot brownies and pot cookies, chap." Running all around the goddamn house, and eventually she runs in the backyard, and Jerry O'Connell, he's like, "Nev, what's going on?" She's like, "The fucking Ghostface killer in there. He's fucking chasing me again. This is like the original movie and shit." And he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna go back inside, and I'm gonna fight him." And she's like, "Oh my God, don't fucking do that, Jesus Christ." And he goes in there, he fucking goes in there. And he's looking for this person. And then Deputy Dewey, he shows up. He's limping and shit. He's like, "I heard all the screaming, Nev. What's going on?" He's like, "My fucking boyfriend went in there, and he's fucking chased by the Ghostface killer, and he fucking tried to stab me and shit." And he's like, "I'm going to go inside. I'm going to find him." And so he's waddling around, chat. He's like limping and checking every corner. No gun, by the way. No gun. He opens one door and he sees Jerry O'Connell on the ground bleeding. He's like, "You fucking stabbed me, man. You fucking scratched me right there." There's a huge fucking wound on his arm. And he's like, "Don't worry, I carry gauze pads with me." And he fucking wraps up Jerry O'Connell's arm, and Nev comes in. And he's like, he stabbed me and he ran away, Nev. I can't believe what happened." She's like, "Yeah, yes, maybe that is what happened." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And then we cut We cut, and we then question, does this person have superpowers? You know what? That's actually a good question, Call Me Hazel. Just because of the fact that so often in horror sequels, the killer, the slasher, gets more and more powerful over time. And so I think that's an excellent question. It could go supernatural. That's what happened with Friday the 13th. That's what happened with Halloween eventually. Like, Michael Myers would be shot like shit, and then he'd just be able to get up. Jason became a fucking zombie before he was just a lumpy boy in a potato sack. And so it's like, that's not out of the realm of possibility, chat. Or are the people trying to be the hero just run away? Exactly, I know. Exactly. But then there wouldn't be a movie. But at this point, we then cut to the hospital. We cut to the hospital, chat. And Jerry O'Connell, he's getting his arm wrapped up and looked at and stuff. And they're complimenting Dewey's quick action, Shay. He's like, Officer Dewey on the case. And, the police are also there. They're interviewing Jerry O'Connell, asking about the search. He's like, yeah, the person stabbed me and they just ran away. And Dewey's just like, it's quite a coincidence they would just stab you, run away, and not finish the job. And Jerry O'Connell's like, what the fuck are you implying? He's like, nothing. Maybe they just didn't want to kill you. Maybe they just wanted to make it look like they tried to kill you. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Maybe you're the killer. He's like, maybe you're the killer. And he's like, they're like, the sheriff's like, can you please just shut the fuck up? Just please shut the fuck up. It's great. Eventually, Chad, we cut outside to the waiting room. Nev's out there, and Timmy Oliphant is in there too, and he just starts acting fucking weird. Where he sits down to her, and he's like, starts like patting her thigh, like, how you doing there, Nev? How you doing? Just like grabbing her. It's like, what are you doing, dude? And he's like leaning on her, he's like, apparently they're very close friends. Very like, I'm just doing a nice little platonic little thigh rub there. He's like, I'm sure everything's going to be okay. The Jerry's going to be okay. She's like, maybe I'm the one that has to worry about Jerry. And Jerry's like, hi, I'm still here. I can still see you all the way over here. And he's like, listen, Jerry would never hurt you. Jerry's a great guy. Everyone loves the Jerster. And she's like, they used to say that about the Skeetster, too. The Skeet Ulrich. He's like, yeah, good point. Eventually, though, chat, we cut from that. And, so now we got to talk about the victims' names. Because, the police is there, Dewey's there, he's involved in the case. And I've always gone by the actors' names, but the character names, they all have at least the first or last name of original characters from the first movie, chat. And this is what Courtney Cox's character realized. She's like, wait a minute, they all have the same name of the first victims from the first movie, whether it be their first name or their last name or something. Not related, not blood related, but they're all similar. And she's like, I think you actually do have a person who's trying to recreate the first film, is actually making a fucking sequel. That's what's fucking going on here. And everyone's like, holy shit, like they have a copycat killer at this point, which is actually really fucking cool. I love that. I think that's like, oh wow. I mean, you don't realize I watched the movie that, oh, these people have the same names. I think it's really interesting. Like, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, her first name is the same as Drew Barrymore's character, and I think Omar Epps' character and Jada Pinkett and Entanglement Smith's character, they have the same names as what was her? Oh yeah, Sidney's mother, and I think someone else. Omar Epps has like the name of Steve, the football player, because his last name is like Steve's or something, which I think is really fucking cool. I really fucking dig that. But then after that, where are we now? I'm trying to remember what scene we are here. Oh yes. This is fucking great. I goddamn love this. Once we move on from this scene, Sidney, she's finally assigned some detectives for protection at this point. Because, okay, they know the Ghostface killer is finally after her. And, she has these two detectives that are constantly following her. So all of her classes, all of her theater performances, all that shit. And Jerry, the good old Jerry, she comes over there to talk to Sidney. He's like, hey, how you doing? I just, we haven't really talked since what happened, last night. And she goes, I just think that we should you should keep away from me. We should have some distance. Be like, no, this is the time where I need to be closer to you. I want to make sure to protect you, Nev. I can be there for you. She's like, I need to fucking be alone right now. I can't talk to you. And then she fucking leaves. He's like, oh, he's very sad. We have some other reporters, like after the meeting between Gail and Dewey and the sheriff and shit. Dewey's walking out, and all these reporters start like just fucking harassing Dewey, asking him questions. And you know, Gail is just like, just fucking leave him alone, okay? He's a good man, unlike us, unlike me. He has a heart. And they're like, "Whoa, shit, okay." Even fucking, you know, Laurie Metcalf is like, "Wow, you really care about this guy, don't you?" She's like, "I do. And I'm just realizing that again." After that chat, we then cut to, I guess it's later in the day, or maybe it's the next day or something. And Timothy Olyphant, it's like they're in the lunchroom at this point. Timothy Olyphant's like, "Hey, fucking Jerry, do you think I could talk to Neve Campbell and interview her for my like documentary about sequels and stuff?" And he's like, "I don't think that would be appropriate at this point. I think she's been going through a lot." And we see fucking Neve, walking to them. They're like, "Oh shit, let's all shut up. And they're like, "Hey, Neve, how you doing?" And he's like, "I see you do you have your security with you?" She goes, yes, I was just talking to them. She starts going into details about like the both gentlemen. She's like, "Well, this guy's a Gemini, and the other one's a Capricorn," and all this shit, intimate details. And she says, like, the younger one, he's really cute, but I don't think he has a thing for me. I think he's actually gay. He's a closeted gay man. And I was like, all right. And there's actually a fucking line where that guy says later on in the movie where I'm like, okay, I vote you. I see what you're doing here, Wes Craven. You're being very cheeky. Being very cheeky in regards to that character sexuality. But then, you know, fucking, you know, she's like, "Hey, how you doing, Jerry? Jerry, you doing okay?" And then Jerry's just like, "You know, I've been okay, but I just gotta tell you something, Neve. I gotta tell you something." And he sings a song from a movie just randomly out of the blue and gets everyone fucking cheering, and she's like so fucking embarrassed. And I don't know the song. Oh, you have no subscribers? What? 0 subscribers. Uh-oh. That's weird. That's a little funky. It says I have 514 subscribers. I don't know why it says 0 right now. I just got hacked. Uh-oh. I don't know why it says that, chat. Oh, that's not good. Well, as far as, on the dashboard, it says I have 514 subscribers. So that thing might not just be working. It could very well be that, chat. It could very well be that. So as far as I know on my dashboard, it says 514 subscribers. Maybe this thing might have malfunctioned. So that could happen. So I just noticed that. So, but yeah, the song, I have no idea what the song is, chap. So I'm just going to sing my own fucking song that I assume Jared, I think this is a better fit. I think this is a better fit because he says, you know, Sidney, Neve, I just want to tell you, someone told me this. I think you should know it too. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. Sing Smash Mouth to her, chat. And the entire fucking cafeteria joins Jerry O'Connell in a fucking Smash Mouth all-star, song. And Neve is just like, "It's like the greatest thing that ever happened to me." And he's like, "I know, I love Shrek." And he's like, "I want to give something to you." And he presents, I guess, this necklace that all fraternity guys get. I've never been to a fraternity, so I assume this is like a big deal. And he says, "Here are my letters from my fraternity. I'm giving them to you." Which Haley says, "Aw, shit, he's going to get in trouble for doing that. Because he's going to get, fucking harassed. Because you can't give a girl your letters of your fraternity because that's only for you." I don't fucking know. It's weird. I don't know. Also, it didn't come out until 99. Well, it was a secret. It actually came out in 1997, but it was not released for the general public, Austin. Wes Craven, him being a huge Smash Mouth fan, he got the song for the movie. Go ahead and check it. I know. And then they changed it for the release, and they used some other song, but the original song is Smash Mouth's All-Star. You can tell the lip sync with Jerry O'Connell. And it's like, that's Smash Mouth. I know my Smash Mouth, chat, so there you go. The film was very ahead of its time. It's very meta. Also about the musical industry, chat. Yeah, these songs are made way ahead of their initial releases. Come on now. But he gives her the Greek letters, and apparently that's a big no-no. And Haley's like, "That's a big fucking no-no." And she tells this to Timothy Olyphant. Like, okay. Later on, chat. We see a scene from the fictitious version of Scream where we have they're like, because at this point, you have Jamie Kennedy is talking with Officer Dewey, Deputy Dewey, and they're like just talking about like how to catch a killer, who the suspects are, and on the TV screen we see like a scene from Stab 1. You have Luke Evans playing the Skeetster, good old Billy Chaff from Scream 1, and then Tori Spelling, who's playing Nev Campbell's character. And for whatever reason, people just went, we hate Tori so much, we're gonna give her a Razzie. She does fine in the scene. She's like, she's like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, but it's not like it's bad. It's fine. So people are just hating on her to hate on her, chat. It's some bullshit. But at this point, Dewey, because he doesn't know how do we catch this killer? What is the killer's motive? And fucking Jamie Kennedy, he basically predicts who the killers are. The original killers. He basically figures out, like, he suspects the original version of the killers and also the second version of the killers, like all in this one sentence. Is really interesting. He says, well, there are a couple fucking rules for this. First of all, for this kind of thing. One, for sequel rules, in order to make a better sequel, it has to have a higher body count. Body count is always bigger, no matter what. Rule number 2, death scenes need to be more elaborate, gory, bloodier. It's filled with blood and viscera, okay? And rule number 3, we never hear about what number 3 is, Shed. We don't know, and I think that could have saved a certain character's life, but we never hear rule number 3, and I was very disappointed about that. But he goes over the suspect list, and he names several people. He says, well, suspect number 1 definitely could be the boyfriend. Definitely could be fucking Jerry O'Connell. It could be trying to repeat Billy, okay? Another suspect could be Timothy Olyphant. This guy who's obsessed with sequels and saying that sequels are better, trying to recreate the events of the last movie and make them bigger and bloodier and gory, also could be him. But I don't want to say that because I could also be involved in that because we both have our obsession with movies. Another person could be Haley, could be her new best friend. And Dewey's just like, but typically serial killers are, white males. And he goes, yes. And we're going to circumvent the tropes by having a black female as one of the killers. And it's like, holy shit. And he's like, and it could be all these other, also could be Liev Schreiber. Could be Liev Schreiber's character. He's a guy who's obviously attracted to the limelight. He doesn't want it to die out, wants to make as much money, have as much fame as possible, and he's recreating these events to put himself back in there, be in the conversation. And he names all these people. I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's very interesting. And I want to go into more of that once we get to the end of the movie. But they're talking about this, and he's like, well, it could even be you, Deputy Dewey. It could be you. He's like, I don't want to talk about this with you anymore. He's like, I thought so. So don't say I'm possibly the killer, because you could possibly be the killer. Maybe you're getting revenge because of your fucking limp and shit. And so we cut from that scene, chat, and we then go to Joel and Gail. Joel is just like, I'm fucking scared now. I don't really want to be involved in this. I've been reading your book, by the way, and your last cameraman, Kenny, you said that he got gutted and died. And she goes, he didn't get gutted. He got his throat slit. He's like, gut slit, I don't care. All right, listen. I work for the fucking union, the cameraman union, and I have certain, fucking rights and shit. I don't want to die on, while doing my work. And she's like, listen, just fucking do what I tell you, okay? He's like, do not talk to me that way. I love that, Joel just has a bigger fucking spine than Kenny. It's pretty cool. It's pretty goddamn cool. After that, we then cut to drama class with Nev and the bad guy from Titanic 2. Not Billy Zane, chap, but the guy who played Billy Zane's henchman. I don't know his name, but he kind of is like, yes, Nev. Kind of has like Alan Rickman thing going on, but he was the henchman in Titanic, which also came out the same year. And she's like saying, Professor Snape, I can't perform because I'm being stalked by a serial killer. He's like, Nev, you can never sacrifice enough for your art. You are a fighter, Nev. You must perform. We need you. I see so much experience in you that is untapped. And she's like, yeah, but I could die. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. She's like, okay. It's like, should I go do my scene? He's like, yes, Nev, do your scene. And so I guess they're doing like an adaptation of Troy, like the fucking novel or whatever, the Greek novella, whatever. And so she's Helena Troy. And she's a victim of fate, chat. And there's this elaborate fucking dance number, and all these guys are like going, shame on you, Helen, for fucking, Orlando Bloom in the movie. And she's like, I'm sorry, he was hot, and I was horny, and he was horny. We had to do it. And they're doing this elaborate thing, but all these people are wearing masks and shit, and they're all doing like, again, this is just probably not the best circumstances to do this under, but they're all like, looks like they're stabbing her, and she just starts seeing Ghostface. Like, it's really a well-shot scene. And she's like, holy fuck. She starts, like, fucking having a panic attack on stage. And I don't know why, like, all the fucking, like, the backgrounds are actually made of bricks and shit because they come tumbling down. They look very heavy at this point. Like, I don't know if we should use those. We should use styrofoam. Why are the bricks so fucking heavy? They're all crumbling, but then she just starts freaking the fuck out at this point. She's just having a fucking panic attack, and Professor Snape's like, stop the play, stop it, are you fine, are you okay, Miss Campbell? She's like, I gotta fucking go, I'm really scared, I'm really fucking scared. And then eventually she's in the back, and Jerry O'Connell, he comes up, and he's like, hey, Nev, your knight in shining armor, or in this case, a blue polo shirt is here. It's a joke. And she's like, I don't want to see you, Jerry. I'm really scared, and I don't know who to trust. She's like, you could trust me. I would never hurt you, Nev. And she's like, I don't know that. I don't fucking know that. And she just fucking leaves. And it's like, oh, Lord, no. And it's like the relationship between the Jerster and Nev Campbell is not great right now, chat. But then we cut to Deputy Dewey and Courtney Cox, good old Gale Weathers chat, and, ooh, Jamie Kennedy. David Warner is the actor's name, by the way. He was also in the original Tron. Oh, yeah, I remember him. And the Omen is the guy who gets his head cut off. Oh, fuck yeah. He does a good Professor Snape, man. It's a good Professor Snape. Good to see you, Lakota. Welcome. But they're all talking about who the killer could be. They're trying to, like, we got to find a way to catch this guy. So more sorority girls and frat guys and other people stop dying. We got to prevent this from happening. And they're thinking. Eventually, they're so frustrated by this. Gail's phone starts ringing, and Jamie Kennedy just fucking picks it up and says, Gail's not here right now. Okay, he's like, how you doing, Jamie? He's like, holy fucking shit, it's the killer. Oh my god. And he's like, whoa, this the fucking, you talking killer? Like, I'm talking to the killer right now. I don't know what to do. And he goes like, just keep on the phone. Because he says, I'm looking at you right now. You look really confused, lost in thought. And he's like, I think the guy's looking at us right now. He's somewhere here. And they all start looking around to see anyone who's on a cellular phone, chat. They still say cellular phone. It hasn't caught on yet, really, chat. And they're like, okay, you fucking just keep him on the phone, and we'll leave you alone here, and we're going to go around campus and see who has a fucking phone and might be looking at us. And so goddamn David Arquette and Courtney Cox are just fucking tackling people and like ripping their phones. Like, what are you fucking talking to us? They're like, ah! They're punching them while Jamie Kennedy just has a conversation with the killer. He's just fucking walking around looking at anyone else's talk on the phone. And he is like, are you scared, Jamie? And he's like, I'm not fucking scared of you. You're just trying to be like, a punk-ass version of Shaggy and the Skeetster. Those guys were grade A whack job psychos, okay? What you doing? You're not even on their level. It's pathetic as Discount Johnny Depp was, okay? He's even better than you. And he's like, you really shouldn't say these things. You should be more respectful. And he's like, I'll say what I want to say. And he sees one person on the cell phone. He goes over there. He's like, hey. But there's not the same conversation. And he's right next to the van, chat. Right next to Joel. Oh, Joel also says, I'm going to go for donuts and coffee because he needs his donuts and he needs his coffee, chat. He needs his sugar fix and his caffeine fix. So he's not in the scene yet. But the person on the phone's like, hey, man, get your hands off me. And he leaves. And he's like, where the hell are you, man? You're just a fucking loser. You're a fucking phony. You have no original. Whoa! And he's pulled, the fucking truck door opens, chat, and he's pulled inside the windowless van, chat, where the Ghostface killer is. And we see poor Jamie Kennedy, chat, just get stabbed to death. He's killed. They kill him, chat. They kill Randy, the audience avatar character, chat, the one who knows the rules, okay? But this fucking movie, chat, it's breaking all the rules, baby. It's breaking all the rules. And they stab him, and we see the Ghostface killer remove the mask. You don't see the person's face. Remove the mask and leave, chat. And we see the blood of poor Jamie Kennedy leak out of the van. And fucking David Arquette, fucking Deputy Dewey, and Courtney Cox, they come up because she's like, where the fuck, where goddamn Jim Kennedy go? And they see the van, the window smashed because he also smashed the window and stuff. And also Joel comes over, he's like, I have coffee and donuts. Wait, what happened to my window? And they go there and they see the blood. They see the blood leaking out, and they open the fucking door, and Courtney Cox is like, ah! Screams, Chad. We see the what did they do to my boy? We see the massacred, eviscerated body, Chad, of one Jim Kennedy. Now, this was controversial. This was a controversial death, Chad, where a lot of people said that they shouldn't have killed off Jamie Kennedy's character. He's a fan favorite, both in the first one and in the second one, because he's also so smart, and he knows, all the tropes and how to beat the tropes, that it was a surprise for him to die. And, but at the same time, I can see why they killed him too, because it's like, well, that's the character you least expect to die because everyone loves him so much, and he is technically the smartest one. And again, this whole franchise, at least definitely the first. I haven't seen the third one enough to know, but this is all about like, no, we're circumventing fucking tropes, and we're here to surprise the audience and stuff. So, but at the same time, I mean, I think they realized they didn't realize how popular he was up to a point, because they do bring him back in 3. They do, right, in archive footage. Or like, because he apparently before his death, chat, he filmed a video explaining like how to catch the killer of Scream 3, which was fucking weird. But again, I think it's just because they wanted to surprise people, but at the same time they're like, oh, he may have underestimated his popularity. So I think that was okay. Not Kenny shouldn't be saved from. I mean, it worked, but he's a good character. Listen, Jamie Kennedy, He's made some bad movies, chap, but you could tell that he really loves this character. And he's a fun character to be around. As goofy and weird as he is, there's a charm to him. There is a charm to him, but it was like, oh my God, when they fucking killed him, it was like, no! And it's so sad. And then after that, chat, we cut to, R.I.P., rest in peace, Randy, Jamie Kennedy, Chad. He is no longer corporeal, Chad. He has left our mortal plane, but he will come back in archive footage in 3. But then, Chad, we cut to the library where we're on Windows 97 computers, and where Nev is working on some schoolwork, and then her fucking computer freezes for some reason, and then this one guy goes, oh, looks like you got an instant message. She's like, okay. And he's like, when you get an instant message on a computer in the 90s, it freezes. I'm like, does it? So I don't know Windows 97 computer technology, chat, but apparently it just freezes. And then she's like, okay, and she hits enter, and on the fucking computer says, are you looking forward to die tonight, Sidney? And she's like, oh my God, the fucking killer's in the computer. And she starts like smashing the computer. It's like, he's not actually in there, Sidney. And the detectives come over. I'm going, what's wrong? She's like, the fucking killer's inside the computer and stuff. And they start like shooting the computer. It's like, yo, we're gonna kill him. And she's like, listen, we're gonna kill all these computers. You go ahead and wait in the entrance of the library, okay? And she's like, okay, Jesus. And so she waits there. But then who fucking pops up, Chad, grabs her arm? Fucking Liev Schreiber. He's like, how you doing, Sidney? She's like, well, what are you doing here, dude? She's like, listen. Like, Gail Weathers, like, she's a selfish bitch. That whole thing about was surprising you that one time. I didn't know. She told me that you already knew ahead of time. It was agreed upon. I don't hold grudges, okay? I don't hold grudges. Listen, we can make, like, a lot of fucking money from this, right? I've booked an interview, okay, with Diane fucking Sawyer, all right? We can go ahead and talk to her, but I need you to be with me, okay? We're each gonna get $10,000 each. You need that fucking money for college. I need that money for my new apartment, okay? I got a fucking great apartment in California, all right? So in Los Angeles, baby, in Los Angeles. So just agree to do this interview with me. And maybe we'll do some more. Maybe we can do a book deal. Maybe we can do some more interviews. Maybe we'll have start like a podcast or something, and it'll be really cool. Like, I hold no grudges, okay? I hold no grudges. Let's just do this together. It'll be great. She's like, listen, you fucking had sex with my mother, and that's weird, and she's dead. And listen, I'm sorry what I did to you, but you're kind of a prick. You're kind of like, they really lay into just how big of an asshole Liev Schreiber is, and he's like the worst. He's super selfish and just money hungry, and he gets mad. He's like, just come on, just fucking do, just agree to it. Okay, just fucking agree. He's like, I know I don't want to. And he's like, fucking Sidney Prescott, always oppressed, always the fucking victim. Well, I was a fucking victim, Sidney. It took a long time for me to get the fuck over it. And you did not get over it. You did not get over it, Liev Schreiber. He's acting so aggressive. He's screaming in the library. The detectives just come over and they just fucking punch him. They just fucking punch him. And he's like, I have rights. And they arrest him, and they take him to the station, and he's talking to the sheriff, who looks like he's about to keel over at any second. And he's like, listen, I was just there to talk to Sidney. I was there to apologize. I was telling her about this great monetary opportunity, okay? I mean, you guys have nothing on me, all right? I haven't actually killed anyone. I am innocent, as you know. Innocent until proven guilty, and I was innocent the whole time, all right? I've been exonerated, all right? And they're like, you fuck, they hate this guy, but it's like, fuck, he's right at the same time. Like, they're just so pissed off at this point. And they're like, oh, we gotta get out. We have to let him go. And he has the fucking gall to put, hey, Sidney, listen, let bygones be bygones. Here's my number. And also Dewey arrives, and he takes the number. He's just like, get the fuck out of here, asshole. He's like, hey, man, you're not involved in this. And he leaves, though. And then Dewey's like, Sidney, I know you just had a really emotional episode right now with Leif Schreiber, but I have to tell you, fucking Randy, Jamie Kennedy's dead. She's like, no, yeah, he died. Everyone's surprised by it. Yeah, it sucks. And at this point, she's just, he's like, I heard the police told me what happened here. You're being harassed by the killer, all this. And I think, but now at this point, they're like, we're going to put you into hiding. We're going to make sure to put you into hiding here. And so they all leave the police station, but all the reporters want to talk to Nev Campbell at this point. Also, Gail's there. And, what's her name? Oh, Jesus. Laurie Metcalf, she's there. She's asking questions. She's like, yeah, I mean, you obviously knew Randy. He's a friend of yours. You both survived the Westboro killings, and now he's dead. Anything to sell about Randy? And she's like, fucking Laurie Metcalf, fuck off. Okay? I am in no mood to talk to you right now. All right? This is extremely inappropriate. And leaving Laurie Metcalf, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I should have realized that. Next time, I'll talk. We'll get coffee. I'm sorry. I apologize. And she leaves. But they take Nev, and they're prepping her to go to an undisclosed location. They can't get a hang of her father, Chad, again, because he's on a business trip. So is he a suspect? Is fucking Nev Campbell's dad a suspect? Maybe he's the killer, Chad. Maybe he's just sick of his daughter's shit getting in trouble with Seal, because he's like, fucking, I'll do the job. If you want it done right, send dear old dad to finish it off. But then it's like later that night, and Jerry O'Connell, he stops by Nev's, she's leaving, and Haley's coming with her at this point. She's like, I am the best friend, and I'm going to come there. I'm gonna be with, I forgot another scene too, because right after her Metcalf's little tiff with Courtney Cox, Joel comes over and talks with Courtney Cox. He says, I'm going to leave now. She says, what are you talking about? I need you. She goes, a motherfucker just died inside of her truck. Okay, that's been impounded. That was my truck. He's dead. I'm a black man. How many other black men have died in this movie? One other one and a black girl. Okay, I ain't letting that happen to me. I am leaving the film. I am going. This was a last-minute change, too, Chad. Originally, the Joel character was supposed to be killed in the movie, but I think Joel said, listen, he talked to Wes Craven. He's like, you can't be killing all these fucking black people in the movie, man. I mean, and Wes Craven's like, well, how would you handle this? What would you want to do? I think my character should just fucking leave. He fucking leaves, Chad. He just goes. He exits the movie, which is actually really cool. He's like, I'm just gonna leave the movie for now, and he's gone for most of it. A Blackman, yes. So good for him. Yeah, he fucking did. Good for him. Absolutely good for him. Goddamn right. Good for Joel. He's a fun character. He's got some good lines, some good scenes, and he's like, I am not going to be the third black person to die in this movie. I will not be the third Blackman to die. And so he leaves the picture. Later that night, Nev, she's going with Haley. They're going to be leaving town for a bit to an undisclosed location. But then Jerry O'Connell comes by, and he's like, listen, Nev, like, I really love you and stuff, and I want to, I understand that you got to go for right now, but when you come back, I hope we can talk. I mean, this guy's just like, oh, feel sorry for the Jerster chat. And she's like, I know, but I just got to go because I'm being threatened. I'm being hunted. I don't know who to trust anymore. He's like, okay, well, if you ever need anything, you can rely on me. You can trust me. I would never hurt you. And she's like, okay. And she gets in the car with the detectives and Haley, and they drive away. And then we see some fucking guys in the background wearing masks. He's like, oh, shit, it's the Ghostface killer? But no, chat. It's the Stepford wives and his fraternity. They have kidnapped him because they have learned that he gave away his necklace to his girlfriend who is being harassed by a serial killer. And they're like, you know what? We're going to harass you and force you to drink all night. And he's like, no, guys, no. It's very fucking weird. But it's like, ooh, maybe that would have been interesting to me if like an entire sorority or entire fraternity were they were all the Ghostface killer. That would have been really like, it's like dozens and dozens of people. I don't know if they do that in the fourth one, but I'm like, that's what my idea would be. You have like a shit ton of people who are just pretending to be the Ghostface killer and doing this elaborate fucking scheme. I think that would be fun. That would be my idea if I could do Scream 5. It's like, it's not just one, it's not just two, it's not just three people. No, it's like dozens, if not hundreds of people. That would be fucking crazy. But yeah, they're hazing him basically. Later that night, Gail and Dewey, they're like, well, listen, maybe we should look at some of the footage that we've been filming. We might have seen the killer, maybe with someone using a cellular phone. I mean, not everyone has a cellular phone. It's 1997, obviously. And so let's go ahead and see. And so they go into the schools, video wing, and they basically break in at this point, and they find a VCR in an auditorium, and they start watching the footage and, all of, Gail's footage and stuff. And then at this point, Courtney Cox is like, listen, Deputy Dewey, you're super cute, and I want to have the sex. Gail is hungry. Gail is horny. He's like, cool. And they start having the sex chat while the tape is going off. It's like, why are you fucking doing this already? Stop it. You should be looking at the video. But then suddenly the video changes, and we see that the video's been spliced with new footage. And she's like, Dewey, what? He's like, but boobies. And he literally has his hands up. He's like, no, not these. Get your hands off. Look at the tape. That's not my footage. And they see the tape, and they see the perspective of apparently the filming the deaths of Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett and Tegelman Smith and poor fucking Randy Chat and poor Sarah Michelle Gellar. And she's like, I didn't film any of this. And suddenly the video switches, and which I don't know if you could do this with a VCR, but then someone is filming them, and they're like, what? And they turn around, the Ghostface killer's like, how you doing? He's up there in the goddamn recording studio. And they're like, oh shit. And she's like, we gotta call the police. And Deputy Dewey's like, I am the police. And he starts limping up there real fast. And the Ghostface killer's like, it's gonna take him 5 minutes to get up here. And so Ghostface just walks out. He just fucking walks out. Deputy Dewey's like, darn it, just missed him. There's no one here. And then Ghostface pushes him down the stairs. He's like, go. And then Ghostface starts chasing Courtney Cox throughout the entire school. She goes into one part of the recording studio, and she's like, it's a cat and mouse game at this point, going from room to room, hiding under desks and shit. And eventually she locks herself inside of this this soundproof room, and where Ghostface is trying to get in there and is trying to smash the glass, but it's too thick, and Ghostface is like, fuck, just really frustrated by it. And eventually she hides in a corner, and we see Dewey's on the other side of the glass now banging on it, but she can't hear him in LL Chat. And then all of a sudden fucking Ghostface shows up, and he starts stabbing the shit out of Dewey on his ass, Chad, and his back. And Courtney Cox is like, no, Dewey. And Dewey's like, just vomiting blood on the glass shed. He goes down, hear that that skin on glass, that cool sound effect. And Ghostface's like, I'm gonna get you, bitch. And he cleans off the knife and he leaves. I mean, it's poor fucking Deputy Dewey again, Chad, getting got in the back, just like in the first movie. Is he dead? I don't know. Looks like he died to me, Chad. Looks like he died to me. But we cut, Chad. We're now with Nev Campbell and Haley, and they're the detectives, and they're just driving. No one on the fucking street. This is I guess they did mandate a curfew. They did mandate a curfew because of all the recent deaths. After the death of, I think, Sarah Michelle Gellar or Randy, they're like, okay, we got to mandate a curfew at this point. Too many fucking kids are dying, all right, as you know. Vanny Vanis Fears, thank you so much for gifting a sub. Appreciate you, good sir. Hope you're doing very well. Thank you. Currently in the middle of my Scream 2. We're almost at the end, though. We're almost at the end of the film. Very exciting. But at this point, so they're driving down the road, and Haley's like, so where are we? Where are you taking us? And then one of the older detectives if we told you, we'd have to kill you. It's that's not a great joke to make when there's an actual killer trying to kill them at this point. And then the the very young and very gay detective goes, I'm like, oh my God, I see what you're fucking doing here, Wes Craven. Oh God, hold on, what's the line? Don't ask, don't tell. which was the policy, the quote unquote policy of the United States Armed Forces, where you don't ask, don't tell, don't tell anyone that you're gay. Someone else would say that, and then you'll get kicked out because of that. It's like, that is homophobic. And so I was like, God damn it, Wes Craven. But don't ask, don't tell. And then all of a sudden, Chad, fucking Ghostface just punches through the car window and just takes a knife and slits the cop's throat. He's like, and the old cop's like, oh, shit. He gets out and he pulls out his gun. But Ghostface just comes over there and just starts beating the shit out of him. And Chad just stabbing him in like the face and in the torso and stuff, in the tummy. And he's like, just coughing. And then Sidney and Haley can't get out because it's a cop car, so both of their doors are locked. They can't, just like, child-proof locks and shit. They're child-proof, but adults can't use it. And they have like a grate or like the cop car have that fencing inside. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but that barrier, right? And so they can't go into the front seat either. And Ghostface just takes the fucking wheel, and the cop's like, get out! And then Ghostface just goes, boom, just hits him, and he's on the windshield. He's like, ah! Like trying to hold on for his dear life, but he's got old arms. He's got old linguini arms, and they're all flapping in the breeze. He's got like that fat sack just flapping. And Ghostface then goes into a construction yard and is like crashing against all this shit. And he fucking Final Destination 2's the guy's ass. This is before Final Destination 2, where Ghostface goes right into some piping and all these pipes like go just right through the old man's face and go right into the car as well. Almost hitting Sidney and almost hitting Haley, chat. Ghostface knocks himself out at this point, but then Sidney and Haley, they're okay. They come to, and like, we got to get the fuck out of here. And so they're trying to open their doors, but they're child-proof locks, Chad. They stop serial killers, and they stop adults. Not children, though. Not children. And they see the cops just like, he's like all like, has all these giblets coming off of him, Chad. He's like all this gore and teeth and shit. He's dead, Chad. He's dead, but he's like, having those spasms, those death spasms. And so Nev, she's like, okay, I gotta crawl to the front, and she has to like crawl over like all the gore of the cop and stuff, all the pipe splooge, and she crawls over all the pipe and gore splooge, and then she tries to open the door, but it's like right against the barrier, so she can't do it. So she has to cross over the lap of Ghostface, chat, and she straddles Ghostface, chat, and she gets out, opens the door. But she tries to take it's funny, she's reaching for the mask at one point, but then she accidentally hits the horn, and fucking Haley's like, just fuck that, just go, just get me out of here, please, for the love of God, let's go, I'm the only black person less in this movie, please. And so Nev gets out, tries to open the passenger door for Haley, doesn't work, and she's like, you gotta do what I just did. She's like, why? He's like, you gotta do it. And so Haley, she climbs over Ghostface and stuff, and they just fucking take off running, but Nev stops in her tracks, and she's like, I gotta know who it is. She's like, fuck that, we gotta run, we gotta fucking run, let's just go, we'll call the police. She goes, no, if I find out who the identity is, this can all end tonight. And so she goes back to the car, chat, and then she looks in the driver's seat, and Ghostface isn't there. And she's like, oh no. And Haley's like, what's up? What's going on? She's like, Ghostface is gone. She's like, where'd he go? And then Ghostface appears behind Haley, chat, and stab right in the tum-tum, right in the bazoonga areas. And Haley, chat, third black person to die in the movie. God damn it. Jesus, Wes, what are you doing? And so Haley is no more, chat. She is dead. She is dead. Rule number 3 from the teaser. Never assume the killer is dead. Is that rule number 3? That's funny. That's funny. But then, fucking Nev's like, no, my best black friend. Oh, no one saw this coming. And Ghostface's like, I'm going to come for you next, Sidney. And she's like, oh, and she fucking takes off running at this point. Eventually, we cut back to Courtney Cox. She's trying to escape the campus, and she gets out of the soundproof room. But who does she fucking run into? Chat, fucking Liev Schreiber. He's like, hey, Courtney Cox, I was looking for you for like an interview and stuff. But she sees that he's completely covered in blood. He's like, oh my God, you're the Ghostface. He's like, no, I'm not. I found Officer Dewey. I saw you go in the building, but no, I was just making sure if he was alive. I didn't kill him. I didn't do it. And she's like, get away from me. And he's like, oh fucking shit, I'm gonna be in trouble again. But the interview opportunities. She takes off running. We eventually cut to Nev, who realizes, okay, I got to go somewhere on campus. And she notices like the theater building is all lit up for some reason. And she goes to the theater building, chat. Oh, we see a scene earlier that with what's his name? Jerry O'Connell, where he's being hazed in the theater building. He's like strung up on like crucified like Jesus and shit. And they're just like feeding him alcohol and everything. That was a scene earlier in the film, The Stepford Wives. I forgot to mention that. But then Nev, she goes inside of the theater building, and she's like looking around and stuff. And she goes on the stage, and everything starts turning on suddenly. Like, all the sets start coming down. And she starts getting fucking trapped. And then all of a sudden, the crucified body, but not really crucified, but the crucified body of Jerry O'Connell comes down. She's like, oh my God. And she takes off the mask, and she's like, Jerry's like, I was taken. The fraternity took me. She's like, the Ghostface killer. She's like, what? What's going on? The Ghostface, what are you talking about? She's like, we gotta get out of here. And then suddenly, chat, the Ghostface killer's behind. He's like, how you doing, Sidney? And she's like, what are you gonna do? He's like, this is the sequel you've always wanted. After the events of the original film, you have to have a twist. And the Ghostface killer takes off the mask, chat, and who is it? Fucking Timothy Olyphant, the guy who is obsessed with sequels. Of course, the guy is obsessed with sequels, wants to make the better film, the better sequel, chat, with Scream 2. It's like, oh, I get it. Mickey, good old Mickey. She's like, Mickey. He's like, I fucking love sequels so much. I love Aliens and Terminator 2 and The Godfather Part 2. I just loved it. But then my fucking partner, Jerry O'Connell, just fucking things up. He's like, I'm not your partner in all this. I'm the Jerster. I'm a good guy. He's like, nah, Sidney, he's lying. He's lying. Just like the last movie, just like with Skeet Ulrich, just with Discount Johnny Depp. It's the same thing with the Skeetster, and she doesn't know who to trust. And she's like, no, Nev, it's not true. It's not true. I love you. I would never hurt you. He's like, think, killer boyfriend. And she goes, I'm telling you, Olyphant is acting his ass off in this scene. He is so much fun. He is chewing scenery in this. It's great. He's so much fun in this movie. Particularly in this the last third right here. But Jerry's like, no, it's not true. Sidney, untie me. He's like, I don't know what to fucking trust. I'm like really fucking confused and I don't know what's going on. And eventually, he's fucking Jerry's like, you're a fucking liar, Timothy Olyphant. I fucking hate you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Fuck you. And boom, Timmy Olyphant shoots Jerry O'Connell. And Sidney's like, no. And she's like trying to hold the wound in and put like the blood and the meat back in the Jerry O'Connell. And she's like, oh, Jesus, oh, God. And he's like, Sidney. He's like, Jerry. And he's like, I just want to tell you, I would have never hurt you. And he dies. He was innocent. Chat. She should have untied him. And fucking Timothy Olyphant's like, oh, poor Sidney. All that trauma for the original with Billy Loomis. Oh, I'm so sorry. She's like, fuck you. Why would you do this? Why? He's like, because what could be better than the original? A sequel, baby. You know the thing about Billy was? Your dear old boyfriend? You know the thing about him was? He's like, what? That you're just as crazy as him? No. He tried to get away with it. That's not what I'm going to do, baby. That's not what I'm about. As soon as this is over, I'm going to reveal it was me. Of course it was me. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blame the movies. I'm going to tell everyone that I was emotionally, psychologically affected by these films. I couldn't help but emulate them. And I'm going to get all these fucking people to defend me. The Christian fucking coalition is going to pay for my defense team. And he's like, I got this all figured out at this point. And she's like, well, there's one thing you haven't thought of. And he's like, and what's that? And she like brings out the necklace that the Jerry gave her, is that I killed fucking Billy Loomis. And she goes, rah! And she uses the necklace, the little medallion, the words, the Greek letters, to scrape against Timothy Olyphant's eye. Just like, it's like, ah! It's his eyes all like fucked up and bleeding and gore coming out. He's freaking out. And he fucking loses it. And they start fighting on stage. But she's doing a pretty good job, like, beating the shit out of him, going boom, 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 doing that. But eventually he gets the upper hand. He grabs her, and suddenly the crucified Jerry O'Connell, he starts going up in the air. He's like, oh, look at that. We have another fucking reveal, Sidney. And he's like, let's see who's behind door number 1. And then the door opens, shut, and who do we see? Gail. We see fucking Courtney Cox, and she's like, Gail, it was you? She's like, it wasn't me. And who's behind Gail, Chad? Fucking Laurie Metcalf. Fucking Aunt Jackie from Roseanne. And we're going, what the fuck? What are you talking about? But then, but the thing is, Laurie Metcalf and Nev Campbell have not seen each other throughout this entire film. And she goes, Mrs. Loomis? And she goes, yes, It is I, the mother of Billy Loomis. Everyone's like, whoa. And Gail's like, how can that be? I've seen pictures of fucking, Mrs. Loomis. And fucking Nev's like, yeah, but that was 60 pounds ago and a lot of surgery. And fucking Laurie Metcalf is like, it's called a fucking makeover, honey. You should get one. Which is so great. But that's the big twist, chap. They fucking Friday the 13th us. That's what it is. This is a reference to Friday the 13th where Pamela's like, we think, in the original movie, it's whoever the killer is, but we didn't expect it as Jason Voorhees' mom. That's what it is. They just reversed it. Instead of the first film with Pamela Voorhees, it's the second film. And it's like, holy shit. And fucking Timmy Allen's like, yes, he was, we met each other online on the dark web. Laurie Metcalf's, yeah, did you know there's really only 97 actual serial killers in the United States at any given time? So it's actually a small audience to meet people. And Timothy Olyphant, I mean, he was a mensch. There was a lot to him. He was a bright boy, just needed some guidance and some fucking money. You know how expensive school is? I can't see out of my eye anymore. He's like going blind at this point. And he's like, and it's all going according to plan. This is going to be great. We're going to have so much fucking fun. She goes, yeah, about that plan. I'm going to kill you now. He's like, whoa. And she fucking shoots him, chat. And fucking Courtney Cox, she starts to like bolt. And then fucking Timmy Allen shoots her in the tummy. And she's like, oh, and she falls over, chat, too. And then, Laurie Metcalf, she starts shooting Timothy Olyphant, and she's like, I'm sorry, look at that. That was like, two birds of one stone. I had to get rid of him, Sidney. You got to understand, like a guy like that, revealing everything that's happening, I can't have that. See, unlike our boy Timothy Olyphant there, good old Mickey, I'm not crazy. I'm very sane. My motivation is just good old-fashioned revenge. You fucking took my baby boy from me. You took him. And I am going to kill you. I have it all set up. You confronted Timothy. He confronted you. He fucking got a shot off at him, and she starts like cleaning the guns off of the fingerprints and stuff. And the thing is, during the chaos, he also shot you too. What a great fucking ending, isn't it, Sidney? And she's like, Mrs. Loomis, what the fuck? I'm just still in shock that you're back and stuff, and you look great. And she's like, oh, thank you. But then she bamboozled her, chat, and they start fighting. And the thing is, though, Sidney, she has one advantage over Mrs. Loomis, chat, and that is she knows the theater. And so she starts like going in like behind the like the scenery and stuff, and she starts like flipping switches and everything. And it all starts like having the entire set crash down on Laurie Metcalf. She's like, ah! It's all these like styrofoam bricks start hitting her, and she's like getting buried in all this shit. And eventually, Sidney, she reappears, and she's like looking, sifting the debris. But then a crazy Aunt Jackie like springs up and like attacks her, chat. Just wraps her Aunt Jackie thighs, and she gets her nails in the Nev Campbell's neck and just starts just choking her and just like, fucking die. You'll pay for what you did to my baby boy. Just starts like slamming her head. But then boom, we hear a gun go off, chat. And who do we see? Fucking Liev Schreiber. He's like, well, now this is an interesting little situation. And Laurie Metcalf's like, listen, Liev Schreiber, listen, she killed my son. I'm just seeking revenge. He's like, and I want an interview, Sidney. I need an answer. Okay? Will you go on Diane Sawyer with me? And she's like, if I say yes, will you help me? He goes, yeah. She goes, yes. And then boom, Liev Schreiber shoots Aunt Jackie, chat, Laurie Metcalf. She's like, eh. And she falls back, chat. She falls back seemingly dead. Also, Gail's like, I'm still here. I'm in horrific fucking pain, by the way. And they help her up the stage. And they're looking down at good old Laurie Metcalf, who's all like, at that point, chat, and all like, bleh. And, Gail's like, well, usually at this point, the person would try to stand up and attack us again. And then fucking Timmy Olyphant really goes, rawr! He literally puts his hands up in the air and goes, blah! And they just all lay into him, chat. The three of them just start shooting the fuck. They shoot him with so many bullets, he does a fucking backflip into the scenery, and it crushes him even more. And then Nev Campbell, she walks back to the body of good old Laurie Metcalf, chat, Aunt Jackie herself. And she's like, is she dead? Everyone's asking, is she dead? And he like nudges her with her foot. And she goes, oh, we're going to make sure. Boom! Right in the head, chat, right between the eyes. She's like, I double tap, bitch. And then she walks out. Everyone walks out. It's the daytime now. We see Deputy Dewey. He's still alive, Chad. They bring him down to an ambulance. He's like, I'm in a lot of fucking pain, but I'm still alive somehow. And they're like, yeah, they just stabbed him in the exact same places that he got stabbed in the last movie. There's like nothing there but air. It's like air pockets. So he's good. And so he fucking made it, Chad. But the thing is, though, Sidney's lost a lot. She's you know, her life's passion of theater, that's you know, bastardized now. Her boyfriend, who was legitimately like loved her and wanted to care for her, he's dead now. Her best friend, her new best friend, also dead. Lost a good friend in Randy. You know, she loses a shit ton in this movie, chat. It's kind of like it's a sad ending. It's like, yeah, Deputy Dewey is alive. It's like, cool, but man, this film does have a higher body count. A good fucking twist. But it ends, Chad. We just cut away from the university. Chad, do a wide shot and just says Scream fucking 2. There it is. Sidney Prescott's life just a lot worse, Chad. But again, you know, it's the kind of sequel where it's just as good as the first one. Maybe I give the edge slightly to the first one, but I don't really have any criticism of this movie. It does have a higher body count. There's some really cool elaborate kills. The acting is great. It's very funny. It has a really fun twist. Now, originally, this is a little fun fact about this film. That was not the original ending. The original ending to the film was actually predicted by Jamie Kennedy during that scene when he's talking with Deputy Dewey. The killers were actually going to be Jerry O'Connell, Haley, her best friend, her new best friend, and also Laurie Metcalf. She would have been the ringleader of it. It would have been 3 Scream killers. Instead, they just brought it down to the 2. But because that leaked online, they changed it. So Jerry O'Connell was not the Scream killer. Haley was not the Scream killer. Again, that was because Wes Craven specifically wanted to do that again. Because, one, he wanted to cast, you know, he wanted to go against the type of, it's always a white male serial killer. Wanted to have Haley, who was a black woman. Like, you wouldn't predict Haley typically being the killer. And he wanted to go back and say, well, you just wouldn't do the boyfriend thing again with Jerry O'Connell. But he's like, you know, I did. But he had to change it again. But this is still a great ending. I think it's still a great ending because you realize, Timothy Olyphant is that guy's obsessed with sequels and saying that sequels are better. And you have the motivation of Laurie Metcalf's character of Mrs. Loomis, who's trying to get revenge for the death of her son in the last movie. So, yeah, that's how originally it was going to be. Well, that would have been fine. I like this ending, too. It works out. And it's sadder for Sidney's character because she loses her boyfriend who legitimately was a good person, and she loses her best friend who was a good person too. So it's like, God damn. But there you go. Overall, I give this, again, this is a full price movie. Much like the first one, it's so well done. I highly recommend checking out if you have not done so. Great review, thank you. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. There was talks of Jamie Kennedy surviving. I'm sure there was. He was such a popular character. I like the ending with. I agree. I think this ending was better. I think if they had done the same boyfriend thing again, that would have been like, you're just doing the same thing. And so I'm actually glad they went with this ending. Yeah. Yeah. But there you go, Chad. I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you had fun with it. Oh, Lord. Thank you, sir, baby. Thank you. If you watch Scream 4, I honestly don't know if you'll see it coming. I have not seen Scream 4, so I'll watch it sometime. Scream 3 is so bad. Scream 3 was the one I was disappointed by. I was like, I didn't care. I have not seen it in a very long time, so I might have a change of opinion. I just remember not being a fan of who Ghostface was. I was like, really? Really? And I was like, And how that was like, I was behind everything, Sidney. It's like, really? I didn't care for that. Too Tall, good to see you. Hey, what's up? Chris and Juicy Game, by the way. It'll be my birthday. What? I got to serenade you with some birthday songs. Can you imagine how different this movie would have gone at that point? Sidney just happened to see Debbie. Exactly, yeah. And it was like, they never see each other. She never sees Laurie Metcalf in the movie. I was like, I'm really curious to see how you react at 4. At the very least, there's one moment I know you're going to love where Sidney is getting attacked by Ghostface in the first act. And she karate kicks the killer in the face and knocks in the face. That's funny. Well, thank you for telling me a scene I have not yet seen, Mr. Ayers. Hey, you're going to love this scene you don't know about. But I'm going to tell you anyway. Thank you. It's interesting how endings can change based on whether or not spoilers are leaked out. Yeah, it's true. Oh, Lord. Well, chat, I'm glad you enjoyed this review. We're going to go ahead and switch on over to the watch party for Marvel's What If. Should we do the watch party first? I guess we'll do the watch party first, and then we'll go ahead and do some Alan Wake remastered, chat. So, in the meantime, chat, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I will be right back. Stick around, you crazy kids.